Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just too. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just too. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Hello, people. Hope everyone's all good. Let me just sort that out. Should have sorted that out first. Yep. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon. Looks like the same old stuff out there, but either way, the more and more I see that new Spurs kit, the more and more I just think, do people actually even put any effort in to football kits anymore? And the prices of things and everything else, it is just shocking. Absolutely shocking. I mean, that's why the picture I've done. Now, I know I've had a few complaints about the pictures I do, the thumbnails I do. I've also had people say I like them. I just try and do them to what I'm doing the show about. And to me, this looks like the perfect place where you get that Spurs shirt from and the rest of the Spurs kit. It's probably the safest place because it's probably slightly cheaper as well. I mean, 125 quid for a man's elite shirt. 125. I mean, a lot of people, average people, as I say, us class. I mean, you've got the people who are upper class, or seem to think they are anyway. How can a normal family go and be willing to spend 125 on a Spurs shirt, on a football shirt? I mean, each to their own at the end of the day. Whatever turns you on is neither here nor there to me. But that just takes the piss. Good and proper. I mean, but what's all this with the elite shirt? What is it? Because it's got another badge on there or something? I mean, and if you're to get someone's names put on the back as well, that's an extra 20, 30 quid as well. Just It's bollocks. Just a normal shirt. 85 quid. What? So if I just go buy a normal shirt now, am I now one of the poorer people as such? Because I can't afford this elite shirt. I mean, the women's prices are the same as well. And then just to go out and get your kid a Spurs shirt. Your little boy, your little girl. 65. So if you're to... if you've got 2 kids, like an average family as such, I'd say an average family has 2 kids, not all. And you buy an elite shirt for yourself, your wife, and your 2 kids, you ain't far off paying a monkey for God's sake. And for those who, that's 500 quid. It'd probably add up to about what, 250, 350, around about 4. You're close to paying a bloody monkey, and you're going to pay that for Spurs shirts. And for the crap we get, for the crap we don't get, either way, we then end up paying shirts like that. Now, I know other clubs do it and this and that, but I couldn't care less about the other clubs. I am ranting about Spurs right now. 125 bloody quid. I mean, really, it is a blatant piss take. And the shirt itself, again, it's each their own. But can anybody actually tell me genuinely they like that shirt? I don't know. I mean, that away shirt last season to me was horrid. And this shirt, when I've seen the pictures of the players wearing it and that, to me, it just looks more like a basketball shirt sort of thing. I don't know. I don't like it. And yeah, I think the safest place to go get this shirt, if you're going to do it, is exactly what I said. Go to the nearest market. Just get it off of there. All right, it might fall apart in half hours, in like whatever, yeah. But just seriously, that shirt is shit. And yeah, that is my rant on that one. So let me say hello to a couple of people. Got a guest who wishes to come on. Adrian, how you doing, mate? Good afternoon. Hope everything's good with you. Good morning, Dan and the panel and everyone. Yep. Bertie Hotspur, big up, everyone. Smash and like, subscribe, appreciated. And we want our Tottenham glory days back. I don't even remember when we had glory days these days. Don't believe the snake. We never get our Tottenham back. Levy out, Ennick out, Donna Cullen out. Mate, just get the whole system out. We all know this one. Miss Bunny, afternoon to you. Hope you're all good. Anyone who buys a genuine shirt, you are part of the problem. Just the shirt is horrid. It's nasty. All right, it's dark blue and it's white. Whatever. Oh, it just looks horrible. I mean, where that was made, I can have a guess, but I'll leave that to people to just use their imagination. And I don't think you need much of imagination to guess where that shirt was made. And Eugene, big up to you too. Anthony Clark, always see you on here. AFC, big up Dan. Hope you're doing good. Have you seen the new kits? They're disgusting. That is what I'm saying about the new kit. Is ferocious, mate. It is disgusting. It is horrible. I don't like it. But I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of people who do. And again, it's each to their own. But 125 quid. And that's just the shirt. You're probably going to be paying 30 quid just for the bloody socks. And probably another 50 quid for the bloody shorts. I mean, football boots and everything now are like 200 quid. Definitely not for us middle class substandard people, is it? Rob Frank, big up to you. Big up to you. Good afternoon. And Ryan, big up Dad and panel and chat. Hit the like button, please do. Wayne, good afternoon. All good afternoon too. Tony Rodriguez, always good to see you on here, mate. One day, hopefully, you will come on here. I'm always willing to send you a link to get you on here because your opinions are always, as far as I'm concerned, spot on. I agree with them. But Tony, anyway, big up Dan, Eugene, and chat. Werner out, Levy out, Happy Clappers out. totally agree with you. Eugene just saying hello to Tony. Bill Coy's TDID. And Beth, my wife. Happy day. Happy to you over at Nan and Granddad's. So I've got this kitchen to myself for a little while. Not too long, because I know she'll be back, wanting it back soon. But I will see how long I can stretch a bit of time. Anyway, back to the point. Miss Bunny, we have the most boring kit ever. It does. I mean, you think, who designed that? I know it's Nike, meant to be one of the biggest sporting companies in the world. You just at least think I could design a shirt better than that using an AI program, for God's sake. Shocking. And Rob, I like that kit, to be fair. You know, fair play to you, mate. I mean, it's each their own at the end of the day. Whatever turns you on. I can definitely say it don't turn me on. But each their own. If you like it, go buy it. If you want to pay 125 quid, I'm glad you got that spare money in your back pocket. But seriously, mate, for me, the shirt is not for me. But like I said, it's each their own. And Bill, watch us rise. Signs of Timo Werner. Yeah. And code to the fourth. Imagery to the point again, Dan. I do try. I get grilled a lot for it, but then people also like it as well. But for me, I just try to do a thumbnail that sort of partially goes to what I'm talking about on the show, or what I'm at least going to bring up on the show. And again, can you legally sell an elite shirt if you win F4? Well, obviously you can. And Phil P, afternoon to you, afternoon at Danny. Hope you're well, mate. When is your new Spurs kit arriving, fella? It ain't happening. I'll wear one of the old ones. They look better. But again, it's personal opinion. And coat and C to the fourth. Country's gone mad. Graduate wages, the same as 15 years ago. Housing, mental, etc. Football, just another part of that. It is, mate. It's all big part of one big business, one big program. To the point where I like my Heung-Min's mayonnaise, and I now have to pay £5 to £5.50 for my average jar of mayonnaise. No, that just about says it all for me. The whole thing is just bollocks, mate. And Brady Yid, big up Dan, big up to you too. Hope you're good, buddy, on lunch. I'll catch up later. Good. And Rob, this elite is just a tighter fit and higher quality materials, same as the players that wear it. Well, I don't know where you get the elite on the players that wear it, because there aren't exactly many of them. And Scott, big up to you too. Big up to all the coys. Tony, what you saying here? The elite shirt is for people with a six-pack. Well, definitely not for me. I drink too much beer for that one. What would they say? Self-inflicted? Well, my problem. And George, big up to you too. And C2 the fourth. Sorry, kids, we can't be elite. We're peasants. Forgive us, Lord Daniel. It ain't Lord, mate, because I can't afford to pay that crap either. Not for a bloody football shirt. And Ryan Mack, F, absolutely disgusting prices. Yep, and C saying away kit is from the boy in striped pajamas. Mate, it's just horrid. And Ray, the video on Twitter is properly embarrassing. I haven't watched it and I don't intend to. And Tony Rodriguez, Knight hates Spurs. Well, yeah, quite possibly, or they've just got no one with no imagination. And Miss Bunny, seen someone yesterday says one of the shirts looks like bananas in pajamas and has me dying. You see, if I tell the truth, what I'm sitting here right now in is my pajamas, loungewear, whatever you want to call it. I'm one of these people that's terrible for getting in. If I'm out wearing a tracksuit, pair of jeans, whatever, if I know I'm going to spend an hour indoors, I change straight into my pajamas or loungewear, whatever people want to call it. I suppose loungewear sounds better, but they are basically pajamas. I just like to be comfortable. And Miss Bunny has seen someone yesterday says one of the shirts looks like, yep, just said that one. Scott M, how you doing, mate? Hope everything's good for you. All three are bad, but the away kit and the third kit are particularly awful. Do you know what, mate? I haven't actually had the chance to catch up with the third kit and the away kit. I just see that kit and I thought that's shocking. And Adrian, what we saying here, mate? The shirt's made in Asia, Southeast Asia, and Asia, Far East Asia for peanuts. Yeah, we all know that one, mate. I wasn't going to suggest where and when, but we all know that one. And sold at extortionate prices. I mean, how much do you think they get paid to make that kit over there? They probably get paid about £1.50 a person if they're lucky. That's no insult meant, and I might be right, I might be a bit wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. And then the shirt goes and sells for a fucking 125 quid. And they talk about slavery. Yeah, that's where we look for that one. And Phil P looks like Woolwich kits with different colours. Well, I've seen worse in Woolwich, I can give you that, mate. I ain't a mile from the place. And that's not talking about the Arsenal bit. Phil Coyes, the green shirt third is the best one with a badge. Again, I haven't seen it, mate, so I can't answer on that one. I will definitely have a look after the show. And Ray Mac F, I've got a couple of guests I'm going to bring on in a minute, so I'm going to try and get through a few more of the posts. Every time I see the away kit, I just hear the song from Bananas in Pyjamas. Well, if they're as comfortable as pyjamas, you've got nothing to complain about. That's all I see on that one. And the Mighty Cockerel, hey Dan, hey Mighty Cockerel to you too. Hope you're having a good afternoon. As are the mid, top man to you. Good afternoon. And Papa 9522. I mean, some of the names on here. The shirts are for us to look even more of a laughing stock. They have it bang on. Yes, it does. And Phil P speaking to Tony. No need for the alert shirt in this house then. No, there isn't. Adrian, I actually like the shirt, but I don't buy the football shirts. Again, it's like I said, each to their own. But for me, this is a no-go. I mean, unless this shirt came with some like actual 9-carat gold round it and round that and give you a gold tooth as well, it's an absolute rip-off. Brian, big up to you, mate. We'll be with you soon. They have an absolute nerve to use the tagline, "We rise again." And the only thing that rises is the kit price. It just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's just Spurs all over. And Papa, give Levy nothing to boycott all Spurs merchandise. The Mighty Cockerel, Dan, would you rather Joseph Stalin or Daniel Levy? Mate, I don't know. Personally, just get Levy out. That's all I say to that one. And Brian, again, how many times have I said that the best thing to do is hide the things in the plain sight? Once again, Levy has taken the piss out of the fan base, as he does. And then Brian saying good morning to everyone. And everyone saying good morning to Brian. Destiny 5, good after you too, mate. I mean, yeah. And Tom Thacker, good afternoon. James, the Tottenham fan, big up, Dan. Big up to you too. Ray the Yard, big up. And Stephen Thomas, I presume that's Stephen. I don't think that's Stephen. Do tell me if I'm wrong. My pronunciation of names is shocking. And it won't be the number of the shirts sold, but how many that will be fake. I think you'll be getting a lot of fake ones out of this one. A lot. And Dixon 2020, afternoon, Dan. Hope you're good. Hope you're good too, mate. Strasbourg Steve, how are we doing, mate? Hope everything's cool with you. You ever want to jump on here, mate, send me a WhatsApp and I'll send you a link. And Miss Bunny, Hellman's out of a jar or squirty bottle, mate. For me, it's the jar. But where the squirty bottle is cheaper now, it has to go with the squirty bottle. But for me, it's the jar all day long. And Strasbourg Steve, Yo Dan, hope you're good. Hope you're good too. Like I said, just send me a message. I'll send you a link if you want. Right. Let's bring in our two guests, and I'll go through a couple more on here. And first off, we have Eugene, and then we have Brian. How are you two doing in this very bang average English day, which I know you two are neither here, so but how are you two doing in this very bang average day in general?
Go on, Eugene. I guess it's our bank average life with our bank average kid. and our bank average Spurs, right? I guess life is well.
I mean,
right?
Eugene, that's not even a bang average kit. That is a piss poor kit, if you ask me. But again, down to opinions.
I know. But I don't know, right? We went psychedelic a few seasons ago. Remember, guys? You know, with all the paint all over the place. You know,
we do that every season.
Yeah, and then this season we come up with the moldy cheese green kind of thing, right? And you know, the dull bluish kind of thing. To tell the truth, I don't care, right? Just as long we win things, that's my target. Whatever you put out, they can play naked for all I care, right? And win things, that's all I care at this moment. But I will buy the kits, right? But I ain't gonna buy it from the shop. Guys, do you know if it's 125 pounds, right? Imagine if you convert it to Malaysian ringgit, it's about 600-700 ringgit per jersey, you know. So it's something like half of a minimum wage for normal Malaysian. So to tell the truth, right, I ain't buying them. I get all my jerseys from you know where. So yeah, I don't care.
Let me just say, because I've got 15-20 minutes because I'm with We Are Tottenham TV all day today. Anyone wants the kit but doesn't want to pay Daniel Levy any money, if you have me on social media, reach out to me because I have a very, very good connection. Who's a very, very good friend of mine who gets these kids. So she charges £30 per kit for adults. I can't remember the price for kids, but don't give that club any goddamn money. It's lovely here in Canada. The sun, big up, Matt, brother. The sun is shining. The aircon is on. In general, everything is okay here in Toronto. I woke up this morning to just a cluster of Spurs bullshit. And as I said, you want to dangle things in plain sight, stuff about transfers, and there's no strategy. And if it's all based on outgoings now. And if we lose a right back, there's no plan. There's no nothing. We rise again. Why is it, just very quickly, before these bloody kits are released, all across social media, loads and loads of fans of the club or graphic designers spend their own time designing their own concept kits and spread them all across social media. And they do this for free as a hobby in their own time. How is it every single time the fans' versions are a billion times better than the people that get paid millions of pounds at Nike, where their job is to create them? I will celebrate the day we leave Nike like we have won a bloody trophy. I honestly will. The biggest question is, what comes first? Do we leave Nike in 2033 or do we win a trophy before then? I'm fuming this morning. I've woken up and I've chosen violence today. It's going to be a day. It's going to be a day of me raging. So look forward to that. On here, on We Are Tottenham TV, Tottenham on tour later, it's going to be the day of rage from Daigle, because I'm sick and tired of people defending this ownership and excuses. Another thing, isn't it amazing how the data analytics, I basically sussed it out. It's a win-win for Spurs, because if we find one, like Destiny or whatever, it's brilliant. But isn't it amazing how this window, all the data analytics are basically cheap players from teams that need to get money? And you can't argue, because the data tells us this goddamn football club and half this goddamn fan base are fucking clueless. I'm in no mood for messing today. I'm in no mood for messing.
I'll make you right.
Brian, when I saw that advertisement they had, right, time to rise, I was thinking, my God, you are really speaking to the fans. You know why? We've been asleep for so long. And the next thing I remember, when the corporate calls, right? Oh shit, morning wood.
Honestly, I can't believe they have the audacity. This is the thing when I say hide things in plain sight. I've been saying it for about 2 years now. Everyone's been banging on about the prices of tickets, the prices of everything, and they have the nerve. What rises again? We have a video with a talking chicken. There's a talking fucking chicken in our kit release. Oh Jesus! I'm as you can see, I'm not in the best of moods this morning when it comes to Tottenham.
So Brian, just out of question, do you think the thumbnail I'd done sussed it?
Tottenham new shirt, the safest, but yep. Yep, damn right. Like I said, if anyone wants, and I'm going to put it on, anyone wants to get the kit but not give that man any money because you're Levy out or haven't got the finances to get kids or whatever because of this tough time we're living in, don't go to DHgate. Reach out to me on social media and I will put you in touch with a very, very dear friend of mine who now has her own business getting these kits. And like I said, it's 30 quid for the adult's top and it's cheaper for the kid, but the kid comes in the full set and she'll get them for you because why should people be paying this amount of money? It's absolutely scandalous from this football club.
It is really bad. I mean, Phil Coy's here is saying, I really don't think the kits are that bad, to be honest. Each their own, I suppose. That's exactly what I'm saying to you, mate. I mean, to me, I just think they're shocking. I think they look like basketball tops, personally. And it's just the way there is just absolutely no imagination. I mean, whoever has made these past few kits we had, you could even go as far to say as they are probably brain dead. Because that is just... There's just no imagination in it whatsoever. I mean, an AI could probably create a better kit than that. But mate, if you like them, doesn't make you no less of a person. Like I say, it's all opinionated, each their own. But no,
I don't know if I'm the only one, but that away kit, the blue one. Do you remember the R
I'm
White?
just looking at it now.
The R White, I'm a secret lemonade drinker advert.
Yeah,
That's them. That's the away kit. Every time I see it, it's a set of goddamn pajamas.
Yeah.
I honestly, Nike have been the worst kits. I would go back to Pony to get away from Nike, and I ain't joking. Nike have been absolutely. The only kit that has been good is the Lucas Moura kit. That's it.
That green?
That Lucas Moura kit, yeah.
I like the one with the gold round it, the dark blue one with the gold round the neck and the collars and that. That
was Under Armour, wasn't it? My favourite.
That was probably one of my favourite ones.
I mean, Sean Butler's Army. Sean Butler's Army. I gotta love the. Stay behind your screen, mate. Stay behind your keyboard and give it the large. Stay behind your keyboard.
No, Brian. He can come off on the screen if he wants.
Let him come on the screen.
Welcome. Anyone is welcome to come on with their opinion. Anybody is welcome. I've said that a million times. Each their own opinion. Anybody can have it. Eugene, I think you're on mute if you're trying to talk to us.
No, I'm not on mute. I'm just looking at the chats. And I big up Adrian here, right, from Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. Hope you're doing well. No, to tell the truth, like, guys, like I keep saying, right, it's always been like that, right? The jerk. I mean, sometimes we feel like, is it we don't pay the night designers enough, or we don't pay our own shirt designers enough to send in the, this is the design we want, right? We just get some cheap designer and just throw anything out there. No effort, but it is what it is. I don't know, maybe we buy one and we actually wear one on and it might look nice then, but I don't know. Let's see. I'm waiting for my, supplier to come out with the versions.
Time to rough on Miss Bunny. Time to write sounds like an advert for Viagra.
Yeah, Morning Wood, right? That's why it reminds me of Morning Wood.
I ain't that old. I ain't that old yet.
Oh dear.
Tried that stuff once for the fun of it when I was about 18 and nearly killed myself.
My God, you did that.
But that is it was just something to try for the fun of it. Like, what are these things like? And yeah, it nearly killed me. I mean, talk about all the blood in the wrong place. But that's a different story. Yes. And Lewis K, what he's saying here, exactly, Brian. Fans justify fishing in the Championship, picking Doherty from Luton and linked to Middlesbrough players, going for the league. Yes.
I will say, with Middlesbrough, Hayden Hackney is going to be a very, very good player. Hayden Hackney will become a very, very good player. Just look at Adam Wharton, Crystal Palace. There are players there. Hayden Hackney is definitely one of them, but everything else, correct.
I mean, like I said, I haven't seen either of them other two kits. I just went to have a look for it, but couldn't find it quickly on the page and that. And a green kit is the third one?
Yeah. With the night tick going up.
Okay.
With the night tick going up,
a green kit on a pitch. I mean, someone just said that on here. That isn't the most.
No, that's
That
when we are
isn't
going
the most
stealth.
understanding someone.
Yeah, we're going stealth, Can't see it. The cameras won't be able to catch the players when they play on a green kit on a green pitch.
1 second. I've just got to check something out on here. Shut your propaganda. No. I'm just sorting out something out of a mod here quick if you two carry this on.
Yeah. Come, how you been doing, Brian? Apart from the shit and all that.
Well, I've got my appointment Friday for my CT scan results for my brain. They pushed it forward 3 weeks, so I'm a bit concerned about that. But we shall see. It's my 22nd of June is my birthday and my 10th wedding anniversary to Alana, and the first anniversary would be together for 3 years because I would have been in England the last 2. So things to look forward to.
That's good. That's good, right?
Okay. And whoever just blocks out, I know I've got a couple of mods on here, and one thing I definitely need is a few more of them. Because just getting moans off about that, Sean Butler, what did he actually say? I'm just checking. Brian, shut your propaganda. It looks like you're professional pessimist. Spurs has done well to be established big club now. Okay, if that's what you got to say. Well, unblock him, let him back on, and I appreciate whoever done that for me and that. Let him say his bit, because I'm going to invite him on here to say his piece if he's got such a strong opinion. Like I got told the other day by him, if you've got the bottle to say your bit, get on the page and that. And I think anybody knows me by now. I'm more than happy to go on anyone's page and debate anything. So let him come back on. As long as he isn't abusive, I won't kick him off. And I'm going to offer him a link to come on here and say his piece. If he's
I'll have to do it quick before I'm on We Are Tottenham TV, but he won't show his face.
No, well, that's where we're showing it. The other so-called 6 clubs, there's no club. I mean, when it comes to club and that, we're about number 25 in the world for history and everything. And well, Sean, I've just put your thing on there. If you've really got something to say, mate, do put a message on here that you'd love to come on here, and the link will be there for you.
And by the way, for people, I know 100% that's not Sean Butler, because Sean Butler.
No, it's not.
It's not Sean. It's a troll account trying to be funny. They all keep piping up, so under no circumstances do I think that's Sean Butler. There is no animosity between me and Sean at all. So yeah, but the Sean Butler's army won't come on.
No, well, I know that's not Sean. Dan, why did you delete my message? I didn't. One of the mods on there did, for a fair reason, the way you were aggressive towards Brian, which is, there's no point on that. If you've got a point to say on there, mate, put your point across, but you don't have to be aggressive towards people. I don't know, maybe it's just a hormone thing with you. Who knows? I mean, men have weird hormones as well. And Miss Bunny, it's actually, no, it's saying that. And the Mile High Hotspur, big up homies, big up to you too. And Hadrian's, Dan, block him, don't be like the other channels. No, the way I do it, mate, is I give somebody a chance of when they've got something to say, and I give them the offer to come on here to say something if they've got that to say. So the link is now going on there. Sean Butler Army, if you really want to come on and say something, there is the link. If you don't, then say what you got to say, but keep it with a bit of common courtesy. It's not that hard. But if you just keep putting abusive on now, then you just get blocked, because then people haven't got time for people like you who are just trolling it for the fun of it. But I will give you the chance to come on here and say your piece. And Hadrian saying, come on and debate them. And Mile High, James, Tottenham fan, at least we don't have a poo kit again. No, we've got a shit one now. That's the way I look at that one.
Which is the poo kit?
That's all there is on that one.
Yeah, I remember we did the poo kit, yeah.
I mean, the cost of all this and how much it's going to cost and everything. I mean, for your average family, like I would say, obviously, man, woman, 2 kids, I would say is an average size family sort of thing. That's going to cost nearly a monkey to pay that. I keep saying that. That's going to cost nearly 500 quid to pay that. And people, and that's, to me, that is horrendous. How can an average family afford that when you're also paying for your mortgage or your rent, and then you've got your gas and electric, and then you've got your council tax and everything else, and they're looking at for a family to pay nearly 500 quid on Spurs shirts? It's obvious, but it's not just Tottenham that are guilty of this. It's a lot of the clubs that are guilty of this. Yes, we're one of the worst, but how can they expect people to afford this?
Now, the thing is, I think, Dan, we all know, right? Football in general now has become a business. You know what I'm saying? So, to be a fan, you have to pay a price. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go the way that you want to get everything original, then you pay that price. You know, it'd be like me that we don't do originals, we do whatever we do, then you don't pay that price. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess in the end of the day, if you can afford it, you pay it. If you can't, you find other ways to get your jerseys and all that. I guess that's how you create a certain kind of market and, you know, a supply and demand kind of thing that goes on around the world. Imagine that, right? But of course, at the moment now, you are still allowed to buy, replicas, right? So it's still not illegal, you know, you won't be jailed for it or anything like that. So those who can afford the originals will get the originals at the prices that's being paid for. So I think that this is just not a dilemma for Spurs. We might have one of the highest price kits in the whole of Europe, right? But it averages out.
Yeah, there's the link.
Yeah, you've only got a bit of time because when Simeon calls me to go for We Are Tottenham TV, I'm gone. But just a quick one. Sean's Butler Army, when I'm on live, feel free to come on Tottenham on tour whenever you want. Whenever you want. Whenever we're live, which will be today, drop a message, come on and have your say. Come and speak to me.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Just keep it civil. But you seem to have such a strong opinion, like you did with me the other day as well, when I didn't go on the show. And said, well, go on the show and run your mouth. Then the show was finished 2 minutes later, so that's a bit hard to do. But mate, you obviously haven't watched me very much. I will go on a show with anybody. I will go on a show with a room with 5 people that I disagree with. It's neither here nor there to me. But come on, if you got something to say, get on here and say what you got to say. If not, you know what, mate, just wind your fucking neck in. And Phil P saying we love Daigle.
You too, brother.
Papa saying are these shirts?
Yeah, no, I responded to it. It's like DHgate, only better. I don't know how you call them, very good seconds or whatever you want to call them. They're not official from Nike or from Spurs, but they're very, very good. I can show you the page where there's loads of reviews on them. She's amazing, and her customer service is brilliant. And it's not just Tottenham; it's all kits. So anyone wants to know more, just reach out to me on social media, and I can get you in touch with her.
And to tell the truth, right? If you don't mind paying postage, right, I can get you real cheap ones, fake ones.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about the market. It's probably them ones that are better. Graham, what are you saying here? Dan, are you changing for a debate after blocking him off? Not cool. I did not block him off. One of the mods did. And like I said, let him back on. And what I'm saying to him is he's obviously can still watch. He's more than welcome. Who said anything about a challenge? I said he's more than welcome to come on and give his opinion. I'm still fresh with all this mod thing. I've only got 1 or 2 on here. And because he was abusive, they've done the right thing on cutting him off. And I have said, uncut that, let him back on. The link is on there. If he has got something to say, as long as he wishes to keep it civil or something to debate, he's more than welcome to do it on here. But if anyone is going to leave messages on the side, like he did, like I had a picture sent to me showing what he actually said, they're going to get kicked. They're going to get kicked off because you don't need people like that giving abuse on the side just because you've got a different opinion. So no, I'm not challenging and kicking him off. I've said whoever modded him off, bring him back on, and the link is out there for him to come on and say something if he's got something sensible to say.
Yeah, big up, Anthony.
And anyway, Anthony Clark, big up, Brian.
Right?
Big
You
up,
know,
brother.
Adrian Chia said something, right? I tell you guys, right? I most probably can see in the future our football jerseys will be made by brands like Gucci, Prada, Versace, right?
Yeah.
And each jersey will be costing something like £1,000 by then. Oh, if you really want to go there, yeah.
I have to say,
Is-
these prices as well, it isn't just a Tottenham thing, it's now a football thing.
Yeah, the football thing.
Football in general has got absolutely goddamn ridiculous. I remember the last kit I bought, which was Jan Vertonghen was still there. I paid 50 quid for it from the Spurs shop. This is before, obviously, we went the summer without signing anyone and I stopped everything buying. So in that space, and a cost of living crisis and COVID and everything, it's now justified to be 85 for the standard kit, but 125 for the match. What these guys, honestly, it's ridiculous. It's insane.
Yeah, like we've been saying, right? It's a football problem now, right?
Yeah.
It's just a football problem. Like I said, football's been commercialized. It's become a business. It is what it is. Unless the fans take back control of the club, right? Then maybe we'll see some changes, right? For fairer prices and all that, instead of, leasing everything out. Guys, you must remember, we still need to pay for the stadium, right? It's not Levy's paying for the stadium. We are paying for the stadium. So just remember that part. So
I mean, if you actually check it up,
Wait a
the
minute.
stadium-
I don't know if Ryan's joking with me, but Ryan just might have want to make sure. Let's have a look because he's just sent me a message. I'm going to make sure this ain't bullshit. Are you serious? Because he's just said to me, I don't know if anyone can vouch for it, but he's just sent me, I don't know if he's joking, that Conor Gallagher has just signed a new Chelsea contract.
yay.
I don't know if he's
Okay.
winding me up because we have a bet on, so I'm just trying to find out.
Is that a bad thing? Right, I will have a quick
No, if
look
it
on
is,
that.
then I had a bet with Ryan, and Ryan's now going to have to buy a Spurs top with 8 Daigle on the back. I don't know how true it is.
Check that on the internet. Conor Gallagher. Gallagher signs new deal and completes Premier League loan. Loan? Yeah, it's on that. Yeah, it's on the Chelsea one. And yes, Gallagher signs a new deal, so it says on there.
Oh dear, dear, dear. So every single person, don't worry, this year is going to be different. Yep, I've got it from Fabrizio Romano. Conor Gallagher, myself, and everyone at Chelsea are excited and happy to work with Enzo. We want to get Chelsea back to where we belong. I wonder if Sean Butler's army is still in the chat. The number one target, the one that Spurs have been working on for
I have
one
said for
year.
the mods to take him off, to let him on.
Hey,
One
big up,
quick
Robin.
thing I'd like to say, Brian, is I do need more mods on here, and any regular people on the show who feel they can do it, do please tell me if you wish to do it, and I will add it. It's just I've only just found out how to do it the easy way. But anyway, Brian, you were saying.
Or something like that.
Mate,
yeah.
listen, this football club, we go on about it. We're working. The transfer people have their transfer dealings that they have the targets. This is going to be happening for a year. This is going to go on. This is going to be the number one pick. Our transfer team have had since the mate. This there you go. That just tells me all I need to know. All you need to know. Everyone that thought, yep, he's coming. I said it the whole time.
I'm going to start that one.
Good
Right,
time.
Rob,
Good
how
time.
we doing,
not
Robbie?
bad. Not bad. Good to see you. Good to see you, Shane, Brian, everyone else. Riddled with hay fever at the minute, so if you do hear me sniffing a fair bit, that's the reason as to why. But apart from that, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Good to see you.
Yeah.
So what do you think on this Spurs shirt then?
The new home shirt, I think it's all right, in all honesty. I don't mind it. I may be in the minority. I've seen some of our away kit and alternate kit, and I saw Stelios, but they look like granddad's pajamas. And honestly, but the home kit, I think the home kit looks fairly nice. In all honesty, I don't mind the blue sleeves. We had it a few seasons ago. I think in the lockdown season, it didn't look too bad. I mean, in all honesty, Spurs shirt should be as white as anything, in my opinion. But I don't mind having a little bit of blue on there and blue sleeves, as long as it's not too, empowering. Like the red AIA, I want to get rid of that as soon as possible. But yeah, I think the home shirt's all right. In all honesty, I don't mind it.
Okay. You really don't mind it that much?
Yeah, I think it's all right.
Well, for me, it's a very skeptical shirt. But like I said, it's each to their own at the end of the day. And each their own. And the prices of things are just shocking as it is. Like I've mentioned, it's going to cost over 500 quid for a family to basically do this. And this is just horrendous. And we have another guest on here, Strasbourg Steve. Long time no see, mate. How we doing?
What's good, people? What's good? How y'all doing? I'm doing all right. Just got back from work. But yeah, hope y'all are good.
Well, before I go to anything else, I will ask you two as well, if you have seen it yet. What do you think on this Spurs kit and at a price of £125, which, if I have a guess, would be $142?
Yeah.
Right. I've got something to pick up at the door quickly. If you can run this for 2 minutes, I will be back.
Sure, no problem, guys. Right. Steve, what do you think about our jerseys, right?
Yeah, I saw them. I actually saw Stell messaged me. And it was like, this video is freaking embarrassing. I watched it. It's corny. It's a typical marketing thing for you guys. Yes, it's all right. It's nothing special. Maybe it'll look better in person. I don't know, but it's all right looking. Personally, because I'm a kit collector, obviously. I love a good kit. I do need a Spurs one for my collection. Ideally, for me, if y'all ever go back to Kappa, that's the big W. Kappa Spurs kits were fire. Or was it Kappa or what was it? But yeah. I think Nike have done like an okay job. I kind of like the green one. The green one's cool.
The moldy cheese fungus thing.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. They're kind of cool looking. Like it's not terrible. I've seen much worse.
I've seen much better as well, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, that shirt is definitely not good, is it? I don't think so.
That's the beauty of football kits, though. Like it's at the end of the day, it's art, and it's kind of down to like everybody's individual interpretation. Some people love it, some people hate it, kind of thing. I think it's all right.
Well, Steve, to compare Newcastle's home kit for next season, right? You guys hardly ever stray away from that black and white,
Yeah, it's always that.
Yeah, it's always that. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't stray away from that. You see, but your away jerseys, right? It looks more solid than what we have. That's how I can say it, Somehow or another, after this while, we've been making weird kind of designs which are, I don't know, psychedelic. Now it's a bit moody, fungusy, moldy. I don't know.
Fungusy.
Yeah.
Okay, just had someone else wish to come on quickly. EZ, you are?
How you doing?
Nice
Same Spurs,
you.
different day.
as always. No, I just wanted to come and really just have a chat about the shirt. I mean, the shirt kind of looks like I think it was the 05-06 or 06-07 shirt.
The Kappa one.
I mean, you got those. Yeah, that's it. Like the skin tight, lycra looking. Yeah, that kind of shirt where, although the sleeves aren't blue like that one is, but I kind of think it looks like that. I think it looks really nice. Sorry, the shoulders. The shoulders aren't blue like that one. You got the red sponsor, the blue sleeves. I quite like it.
What about the blue one? The one that everyone says looks like the pajamas one. It looks something like the Argentina jersey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm always more about the home shirts. I don't ever really buy the aways, the thirds. So yeah, I tend to focus on the homes more than anything.
Oh, shit.
I mean, they wear the lily whites. That's generally our white shirt. So, yeah, for me, that's the best one.
Yeah, remember one of these, right? This was one of our away kits, right? Look at it.
That was a nice one. That was a nice shirt.
Yeah, I've been saying, yeah. But now, that's why I said we've moved away from that solid colors for our away kits in a sense, you know. So we've gone a bit psychedelic, or you know, I don't know what.
Can I just move this very quickly away from the kit, because this Conor Gallagher stuff, I didn't want him. I didn't want him. I could understand why we wanted him, but for me now, there is absolutely no excuse whatsoever why Eze isn't wrapped up very, very quickly. There is absolutely no excuse, because whatever money was going towards him is now available. Listen. Dan, you, me, I know Eugene have been saying it, that this window is just going to be the same as always, and it hasn't even opened, and I'm sick and tired of it already. Sick and tired of it.
Philly 2109, Dan, can I come on, please? Yes, I'll put the link on the screen, and what I'll do, I'll put the link on there once again now. There you go, mate. If you wish to come on and have your rant about the shirt, you're more than welcome. There you go, Philly 2109. Whoever was saying what?
Oh yeah,
Conor Gallagher.
Gallagher, yeah.
Yeah.
So is this a good thing with Gallagher then, that he has signed them a new contract and we won't be getting him? Because I know it's been very, very divided on the Spurs community of who actually wants him and who actually doesn't.
Guys, tell the truth, right? Someone other, right? Conor Gallagher has always been touted that Ange wants him. You know, we have to go and get him. Ange wants him. And now he goes on and signed a contract extension. Is it that, are they trying to push up his prices, put in a release clause, a high release clause in there? So, you know, Chelsea needs money. So at this time, I guess this could be part of their scheme, you see. Right, so
Yeah, I'm sure a few days ago it came out saying that Gallagher didn't want to join.
yeah, and their part, yeah.
Yeah,
Gallagher,
I heard that as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah. I
heard that as well.
Brian, are you talking about this post? Brian, are you talking about this post on Fabrizio's page?
There's one from Romero, yeah.
There's several of them come up on the net now, and it's on the Chelsea site itself saying that he has just signed a new contract.
It's on Chelsea's official.
Oh, it is. Oh shit. Okay.
Ryan's lost another bet. Mate, this guy is he has owed me about 28 different meals. Now he's got to buy a Spurs shirt and wear it at Spurs games with 8 Daigle on the back for Gaza. Making bets with Ryan is the best thing ever. You can't lose.
Stefan still owes me £100, so I can donate it to Great Ormond Street charity, and haven't heard nothing or found nothing yet because
Ryan honours his bets. Ryan honours his bets.
I like to think Stefan will honour his bet as well. So I'm still waiting for communication from him. But either way.
Good to see you, Finny 2109. First time in back.
Thank you, Eugene.
You're one of the OGs from the old days, bro. I still remember you, you know. 3 years
Thank you very much.
In the chat. Yeah.
Long time no speak. I'm Mr. Negative, by the way, so you know what I mean. How you guys doing anyway? How you doing, bro? You cool?
Not another toxic one, no.
Oh.
Oh no, not another toxic one. I don't think we can handle that. I think he's got to go.
Hey, mate. Tuesday for you yesterday, brother. I heard you, man.
Right. Since I always see you on the talk and that, you're more than welcome to come on. And what is your opinion on this shirt and then the Gallagher incident?
Well, the first shirt looked like someone vomited. I'm not even gonna lie, man. I've seen some shirts here, but this one is awful. And Nike are lazy, yeah, because they know the people are going to buy it anyway, so they don't really care how they present it now. So
it is actually a throwback shirt, to be fair. Y'all do have a bunch of like these kind of light blue. Dan, if y'all pull up the thing again, like y'all do have a lot. I'm looking on the football kit archive. Y'all have a lot of light blue away shirts throughout your history, and yellow. Obviously, that's the other one. So it's kind of a throwback. I don't know.
Yeah, but the third kit looks like vomit, man. I'm sorry, Steve. It does. That green one doesn't look nice, man, whatsoever. There is no history of. I can't remember seeing Spurs wearing green like that, mate. I can't remember that. The blue one, yeah. I can be honest with you. It reminds me of the Argentina shirt that they have.
Blue. Yeah.
Mm.
It's got the Argentina feel, right? The blue color. Maybe that's for Romero.
That's it. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and remember you were saying the third one, right? I said it looks like fungus and mold.
Oh, right. Just a quick thing for people. No, it's not on the Chelsea site.
Yeah,
I just went on there and didn't put days, and it showed previous. So I got that one wrong. My bad. Yeah, I got that one wrong. It's not actually on the official site. It's just there's a couple of sayings on there starting to pick up that he's.
It'll be on there by the end of the day. If Romano's tweeted it, it won't be long till it's on there.
That's true.
Yeah, it was where I looked on it, and it was 2023 or whatever, and I didn't catch that. So my bad, that one. But either way, we know basically he's going to be staying at Chelsea now, which is not the end of the world. I mean, so Phil, I take it you ain't too happy with that Spurs shirt either.
Nope.
No.
No.
What do you think about us not getting Gallagher now?
Mate, I didn't want Gallagher in the first place. I'm not going to lie to you. I watched him in the League Cup. I wasn't impressed by him. I watched him in other games for Chelsea. I was not enamoured by him. So therefore, I didn't want Gallagher in the first place. I think Tottenham should be looking a lot better, looking for a lot better players. There's loads of players out there. Big up Steve, yeah? Because Steve gave me a player to look at, Lewis Ferguson, and he's not a bad player. And I even watched Cookminers playing for Atalanta. Why can't you go there? Why couldn't you go to Bayern? We were buying players from the Dutch league, yeah, when we were in the old stadium. How are you telling me that in the new stadium we haven't gone back to the Dutch league once, yeah, and buy a decent player from them?
Yeah.
How is that going on?
I don't know. That could be Jimenez coming in.
Here's a point I can bring to us six on here. It's something Graham Pennant said on here. You yourself say Levy has spent loads of money and has got us many top managers. Aren't we too unfair on him? Right. On a show I done the other day, I called it Civil War. I called it Civil War for a reason. As I say, got a few digs on it, got a few well dones on it. You know how it is. And at the end of the day, I honestly don't care. I appreciate that people like my shows, and when they don't like my shows, don't fucking watch them. Might seem a bit rude and blunt, but that's me. Take it with a pinch of salt if you have to. And I don't. When it comes to a businessman, yeah, when it comes to what this man has done for us as a business, made us the 7th biggest club in the world in a business. Levy has made us a business that can run itself without having to sell players and everything else. There's only a word you can really say for him, and it might say it's a strong word, but it's phenomenal what he's done.
Business.
I mean, credit where credit is due at the end of the day. On the business side, this man has been not far off, immaculate. And yes, it makes me feel physically sick to say it.
Yeah.
You know where you get that little bit in the back of your throat from the yesterday's dinner. But on the football side, he has been a complete, and there's no other way I can say this, he has been a complete and utter fuck up. Yeah. And when it comes to the way he treats the fans and his lack of communication with the fans and his lack of care about winning everything as a football club, this fella has been worse than a nuclear bomb. That is my opinion on that one.
I'll leave you a rich Mike Ashley, bro.
All I want to say with this is in response to Graham's comment, he's brought managers in, but listen, he brought Jose Mourinho in as a vanity project. He'd wanted him for 20 years, and he got his man finally 20 years when he was on the way down.
Yeah, and about 4 years too late.
Listen, all of us, every single football fan around the world could have told Daniel Levy what Jose Mourinho does is go to a club, spend hundreds of millions to get his players to play his football, wins everything in sight, and then makes everything toxic and pisses off. Everyone in the world that watches football could see that's what Jose Mourinho does. So he needs. Did he get the hundreds of millions? Was he able to players? Did Jose Mourinho come in and say, "Do you know what is going to make my team great? Matt Doherty. Matt Doherty is going to make my team great.
Joe Rodon.
Get me Joe Rodon. Get me Joe Rodon, because these are the players that will take me to the pinnacle of domestic and European football." No, he did not.
But brother, let me take this from here, yeah? Let me just take this little piece from you.
One second, Phil.
Go on.
Antonio Conte comes in.
You know this.
We have a war chest of 150 million.
That's a buzzword.
We spent 100 of it. Did we get the players that took us to the pinnacle of world football that every club would have wanted? No. Was he backed? No. So we hire the win now managers, they don't get the win now players. We hire the attacking managers, they don't get the attacking players. We get the defensive managers, they have the attacking players that the defensive managers don't need. Yes, we brought the managers in, but has any manager whatsoever been given the tools they actually need, the players they actually want to succeed? No, they have not.
So in that aspect, Graham, I think your question just got answered.
Yeah.
No, I want to add a bit to that, you know. Just a little piece here, right? There's a lesson in life. It's called once bitten, twice shy. So now you've gone from Mourinho, yeah? Why would you bring in Conte knowing he operates the same way? Why would you do that? So therefore, you haven't learned from Mourinho. So therefore, you went down the same path and done it again, which is why I didn't buy into Conte. I'm sorry, guys, but that's why I said Conte walk, because I just saw, mate, you're not going to get the players you want. We're not even going to try and buy the players you want. So therefore, there's no point you being here, mate. You're just wasting your time. And 18 months of our lives just wasting watching this go round and round.
Yeah, Phil, let me explain about Conte, right? Conte happened is because when we lost 3-0 at home to Manchester United, right? The whole stadium was saying Levy out. He panicked. Yeah. It was a reaction. And then in their day, right, you just say the fans wanted Conte. That's why I got Conte, right? And to Steve, right, I tell you the truth, right? Mike Ashley is much, much more better than Levy. You know why? Because he's honest with the fans. He doesn't bullshit them. Because, you know, he will tell the fans, I don't have the money. I can't bring you to where you want to be, right? Unless someone comes in.
We did get relegated twice, to be fair.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. At least.
Yeah, but even the Arsenal chairman did it. Even the Arsenal chairman showed them people respect it by telling them when we smashed down the stadium, yeah, right, we're not going to be able to buy the players you want, so therefore we're going to have some doldrum times, and we're not going to. Levy lied to the people. He told them, yeah, that there will be money available for transfers when we move stadium. There was none. 18 months, mate, 510 days of no transfer activity. We were linked to Jack Grealish, yeah. In 5 years, my brother, 5 years, Aston Villa gone past Tottenham. They were in the Championship, brother, when we were going for Grealish, you know. We were Champions League finalists, blood. And look how they've gone past Tottenham in 5 years. Now, that's ambition, brother. Now, don't tell me again Aston Villa are worse than Tottenham, because they ain't. They're better than Spurs.
Away from them. Right, Adrian. Let me bring Adrian on. How we doing, mate?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for the invite.
Big up, Adrian.
That's fine. Always welcome. And so, before we go into other stuff I've got written here, seeing as you're on here quick enough with it as well, I mean, we've been ranting an hour about this kit. An hour. And we have another guest as well. Move the camera down. I'll be able to see your head. Move it up.
Hold on.
No, move it up a bit. There we go. We've got you.
Yeah, big up,
and
Ian.
Hi, Dan.
All right. So, Adrian, what do you think on this kit?
I like the shirt. I won't be buying it. I don't buy football kits. I've stopped buying merchandise at the club as soon as I've stopped drinking and buying food in the stadium as well. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I've failed in the past because I've got so much Spurs stuff before, I've had a change of attitude, right? So I've got everything regarding T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. I've got the pajama bottom shorts, jogging bottoms. I've got everything, like, you know what I mean? But I won't be buying anything else, right? I actually like the shirt, but, you know, it's the same each year. It's always subjective. You either like it or different. The only difference is, are you going to buy it or not? That's the proof of the pudding. Are you going to pay that amount of money for it? I mean, the reason I don't buy football shirts per se is because when you buy a sweatshirt, a T-shirt, a Fred Perry style shirt, a hoodie, that is timeless. Whereas your football shirt, you're changing it every year. and I just refuse to go there. Like I've never done. I did it years.
They
and
should
years.
do a shirt for at least 2 seasons, shouldn't they? At
Yeah,
least.
but so I mean, with a sweatshirt, you can wear it all the time. It's timeless.
True.
The copper on it, you know. I mean, to me, it's more value for money and it's cheaper. You know. Other than that, you can go out and buy the snipe ones when they come on the market, which they will do. No one knows the difference, you know. So,
Right.
yeah, that's that on
I
that.
need
On the bit of the
second,
rant you had
Adrian.
about spend because we didn't spend within 500 days. Well, I don't.
Right,
suppose
Adrian,
you'd be
just wait a
surprised-
sec. Before we
Go on.
get to that, I'll let you carry on, yeah? I've just got a quick point to pick with this person in the chat. KSP, who the fuck are you? That comment you left on here the other day went straight over my head until I sat down and went through it again, because I usually watch the show again to pay attention to the chats more because you pick them up more. I got exactly what you meant there. I got it. You've got to give me some rough idea of who you are. You've got to give me a rough idea. Going back to causing havoc at the ST.S days. Yes. I understand exactly what you meant now, yeah? So you've got to give me some sort of hint on who you are. But anyway, Adrian, please do continue.
Yeah, regarding transfers, I mean, I don't think it'll surprise you lot to realise it's not a question of whether we spent money or not. We have, but we didn't have the recruitment team we've got now. Since 2019, would it surprise you that we have spent 685 million on 29 players? Now, name the good ones. Name the good players out of those 29, right?
Mate, I'm not looking at the players from relegation corner like Everton, bro.
Let me finish.
If that's the players that you want to buy,
Sorry,
yeah,
Philly, let
every
him finish.
relegation
Phil,
corner, I
let him
can finish.
finish. Let him finish. Let him finish his bit. Then he's gonna say his bit. Let Adrian finish.
So
Let
Before Adrian
his bit.
finishes, I've got to go for We Are Tottenham TV. So
All
listen,
right, Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, man, big up Brian, man.
Ian,
Brian
buddy.
got the minerals, man.
Big up Minerals, my man. Ian, it's always good to see you, brother. Adrian, Steve, Robbie, Phil, Eugene, Dan, everyone in the chat. Have a great day. And
best, man.
as always, Levy out.
Levy out.
Fuck that guy.
Take care, Brian. See
Oh,
you soon, man. Right.
There
Phil.
are.
I mean, Adrian,
there are-
continue, mate.
There are positives we can take. The recruitment team's been overhauled, as is all the structure through the academies and things like that. So they are positives, and we want to see more of it. And in recent transfer windows, we have failed better, you know. And we ain't spent big, but cheap players we got in. We got in Vicaro, you doggy, didn't we? We got in Saar, right? On the cheap. Van der Ven, well, he's a 40.
Romero as well.
But then, like, Bentacore was peanuts, 16 million. So you can get good players in if you've got the recruitment team. The problem is...
So let's do the other side. Now you're giving me the good side of the coin.
Right? Let me finish.
All right, go on.
Right, okay. So you can you can get good players in if you've got the right recruitment team. The problem in the past was Levy is clueless when it comes to football, right? He's just a good administrator, which he is a good administrator. There's no doubt about that. I mean, but on the footballing side, when it comes to director of footballs, and they've had money to spend, because that 685 million works out 137 million a year. And the point is, you do not need, this is what gets me, you do not need hundreds of millions of pounds to go out and improve your squad. Because if you've only got 100 million, you could put 20 million down on five players at 60 or 70 million. And we've got money to spend in this window, and I want to see it spent. Right? We have got money because we've had our best.
Can I drop it now?
Okay, just before you get your bit, 1 second. I just want to answer a question here. Right, Graham Pennant, Dan, in all due respect, you don't hype Villa up for being top four. A thing which you do is blast Levy of all that is our established top four status. Well, I don't have to big up Villa because I don't support them, but Villa have done very well to get in the top four. But personally, I do think they were nothing great this season. It is a place we should have actually been if someone wouldn't have been so stubborn at times. But the reason I don't big up Levy for getting us in top four is because we are past that stage where it's sort of like a trophy to us. Because that is basically Levy as all he wants to do. This is why I grill Levy for it, because as all he wants to do is get top four. Fair enough, he's got it to us a few times, and being the seventh biggest club in the world in that, we should be expected to be or fighting to be in 4th place.
Yeah.
That is why I do not big him up for it, because it is purely what he wants. Now, if he was going for trophies in that at the same time and we won a League Cup or an FA Cup and got top 4, I'd say, yes, mate, you got us top 4 and you got us a trophy. But he doesn't. That's my answer to that one, mate.
Yeah.
Do continue.
Right, now, first of all, yeah, your transfer business. Right. You give me the head side of the good side of the coin, yeah? The Romeros, the Madisons, but let's look at the other side, yeah? The Hills, the Johnsons, the Pigeon. Let's look at them ones here. We spend money on. Right, there's quite a few of them. Let's start adding up now, innit? The pendulum starts going the opposite way, and you start looking and thinking, mate, right, okay, you signed some good ones here, but you're going to have to look at the bad ones as well. It's been 50-50 under Paratici. And even that, I didn't want Paratici here because I knew there was something wrong in there. And even when Lange has come in here, he's changed a lot of the stuff that Paratici did as well. There's a lot of stuff that Paratici did that Lange has changed. So why has he changed?
A little bit.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right, mate.
Sorry.
That's all. So I'm just
saying, sorry, mate.
Might help turn it down a bit. That's cool, man. That's fine.
But what I'm trying to say here is Lange has changed some of the stuff that Paratici's done. So some of the stuff that Paratici did must have been wrong, innit? Yeah. It must have been wrong.
Yeah.
Can I come in here, Dan?
Go on.
Go ahead, Ian.
Afternoon. Paratici was probably...
Afternoon, Ian.
Afternoon. I am not...
Bring your camera down a little bit.
Okay, let me try and get that down. Sorry, it's been up and down at the moment. Okay, let me just push that back.
Just trying to get it so we can see your whole head. That's better.
That's better. I am very much Levy out. For me, Tottenham is my passion outside of my family. All I've ever asked is that we're in the game. That's all. No guarantees ever of trophies, but let's compete. Let's go in there with the guys. So fully agree with what you were saying before, Dan, about in terms of business, he's great for him. Fantastic for him. ENIC have spent 220 million on the shares up to now, and they'll walk away with 3 or 4 billion when they sell. So they profit. What are the fans left with? Bugger all. For 23 years, we've had 23 years of this nonsense with very few highlights in between. So for me, he's only interested in profit. There is no interest with the owners in trophies. It's only about profit. Now, I understand the hotel, which everybody's up in arms about, was part of the deal for regeneration. There's no way Spurs could get out of that. I know that. I'm a shareholder. I was in on the AGM meetings. I know it took Spurs an awful long time to get the plans through, and that wasn't down to the plans being bad. That was down to other situations. But the one thing that Levy has got right is Paratici. And the one thing I think following on from that is that he's got wrong is Lange. He should have stayed with Paratici. He should have stayed with Gabbiadini. He should have had the two of them running it. But the problem you've got, and I fully agree with what Adrian was saying, you can get deals. Sarr, Vicario, Udogi, they're all great deals. You can buy these players, and that's where you need someone like Paratici who knows his business. Maybe Lange did well with Bergvall. We'll find out. But the problem I have now in terms of transfers is that the manager should be backed whether he finds a £5 million player to buy or an £80 million player to buy. And whoever he decides, and anywhere in between those sort of figures. The problem is Levy uses Ndombele as an excuse not to get involved in big transfers. So we'll never buy those top players. As you said, who has spent, Paratici has spent close on, since Paratici joined, I think I worked out 21 players at 495 million. So you're a little bit ahead of me because you've worked, Adrian, on the previous 2 years before Paratici joined. But if you look at it, they're averaging, for me, on my figures, since Paratici joined, they're averaging 27 million a player. Now, you're going to get your great deals. You're going to find players coming through, which are really important. But you've also got to be in a position where Eze comes up, bang, Palace wants 60 or 70, do it, close the deal. Don't do what happened when Mourinho wanted Ruben Diaz 3 months before Man City came in or even showed an interest. And the Diaz's club wanted 63 million. Levy offered 53.
But Ian, wasn't he back up? Wasn't he back up to Skriniar?
Sorry,
wasn't that the talk? Wasn't Ruben Diaz the backup for Skriniar? Because our man Hitchin flew over to Italy, was in Milan, trying to sign Skriniar, and he didn't do the job.
No, Skriniar was never coming, but they did put a bid in for Diaz. And Levy said no to Diaz, and he ended up with Joe Rodon. And
when he was at Benfica. Yeah.
This has been, you look back to 2011, 2012. Tevez and Cahill, no, he got Saha Nelson. We were 3 points off the top. I think we were third behind City and United at that stage. And we had a good side. You know, you look at Modric, Bale, Van der Vaart, Ledley. We had a superb side with Harry. He didn't want to know. They've never wanted to.
But Ian, I'll even go back further, 2008, when we won the League Cup. Yeah, in that summer, we saw both Berbatov and Kane in that one window, and we replaced him with Fraser Campbell. So it's gone back years.
Correct. It does. It goes. That's right. It goes back years. And we ended up with Fraser Campbell with 2 points after 8 games and rock bottom.
You should have signed Grealish as well.
It hasn't changed. It's never ever changed.
Hold on. Ian, your camera is running up again.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Ian, I've got a question to ask you, right? So, you said you have shares in Spurs.
Go on.
No, Ian does.
No, sorry. Yeah, Ian, you have shares in Spurs, right? So
yes.
You are part of that 30,000 shareholders that Daniel Levy was talking about, right? Those who are holding that 13%.
Yes, 13.5%, correct.
Yeah.
Do you know I didn't even get an email with the figures this year.
Okay, wait,
Ian. Didn't even bother sending the year's figures out on email.
Ian, do you know any more people like you? Because I want to really talk to people who are holding those shares.
I only know one other person who's a big Arsenal fan, funny enough. But
seriously,
that says it all.
Seriously, I don't know any of the other shareholders.
We need to have a chat in the back room, not live. We need to have a chat in the back room later.
No problem.
All right. After the show ends, right? This is going to be interesting.
Out of a comment that's been made here, KSP, I know who you are now, Ozzy. I remember you. Yeah. And basically the comment he was making from when I was at primary school, a nightmare was an understatement. But times change. People grow up. Well, I wouldn't say men grow up. Men just sort of age.
Men mature more slowly than women do.
Of course we do. Why do you think men have more of a sense of humour when they're in their 50s than women? But let's not go to that point, yeah? I mean, it's like...
He's wrong with his quote, Dan.
Look,
this quote is wrong.
Basically, wrong. I know that is why I'm getting to it, Adrian. I will get to it. But that is why I'm saying we've got, 6, 8 people on here, men who only know each other through here, and we're all debating and talking heavily at times, agreeing and disagreeing about football. Why? Because men can do that. That is an advantage men have over women. Majority of women, as I've said before, they don't even like women. And that's where men just have an easier life. Whether some people might find that offensive, that is just a fact. I have only met about
too emotional. That's it.
That is like women. But on here, one thing doing this stuff has taught me is there are actually plenty of women out there who do know who know their shit when it comes to football.
Yeah.
So, so right, KSP, Aussie, mate, you do need tens of millions to pay off that crazy interest rates you're paying at the stadium. No, we don't. What Levy actually did for a large part of it was go and get another loan to pay off that loan, and the interest rates on the loan that he had are significantly lower than the loan he covered the other one on. Yes, there's still more to come into it, but this stadium basically pays itself. With everything that happens outside of the stadium, it pays itself. That's
It's
why Spurs
you're
are a team.
self-sustainable.
Look, let me explain the finances, guys, because I know this, right? Okay.
All right, but don't go
Oh,
too
no.
deep into
Last
it.
year-
Don't go too deep.
Too much numbers, Dan.
This will be a simple layman's terms, right? I'll do it simple as possible. How
Right.
we stand as a club. Now, at the moment, we're still under FFP, financial fair play, profit sustainable rules, PSSR. But that's changing because it's going to change to SCR, which is squad cost ratio. Now, how this works, it's going to be ratified in June, right? Simple. What a football club earns over a year. Like we earned £549 million last year, right? Then what you do with that figure, you have to take off all football-related expenditure. Now, in our last year's accounts, we had Ian, I know this. We'll have 251.1 million in wages. So you take off the 250, right? We owe 300 million in agents' fees and transfer fees. We owe. Now that'll be amortized over 5 years. So you take 60 million off of that, right? So now you're at 311 million. Contrary to KSP, we paid just over 20 million interest on the 671 million we still owe in a stadium.
I think
So
it's
you're now at 331 million. So to keep it simple, right? We know there's lots of other football-related costs. You could list them as long as you're on. You know, we go on pre-season tours. All right, we might help with profit, but you still got flights to pay for, stays in five-star hotels, etc., etc. So let's just round it off for simple figures. Let's say it's 349 because that's easier to take off 549. Then you're left with 200 million. This is the figure every club will be looking for under the new squad cost ratio rules. Because out of that 200 million now, a slight difference between us in Europe. If you're a Premier League team not in Europe, you can spend 85% of that figure, which would be 170 million. If you're in Europe, it would be 160 million because it's 80%. Now, we've been averaging 137 million a season since the stadium opened, right? 160 million. Believe you, fans seem to think, oh, you go out and buy 260 million players or whatever, and all this and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't work like that. When we're paid for players, those deals are structured over the length of a contract, which is normally 5 or 6 years now. Now, Chelsea, they didn't break no rules doing it over 8 years, but that loophole's been closed. You can sign a player for 8 years, but you must pay that transfer fee over 5, right?
Okay.
So all I'm saying is, guys, with the average of 100, even if it was only 100 mil, even if we had 100 mil to spend, we could go out and get 60.
It's all right, Reynolds, muscle it. It's nearly done.
60 or 70
Right. Sorry, Danny.
Because
Adrian, can I just cut you off, please?
Let me
For 2
finish.
seconds.
Listen, King. Felix, the last part. King, listen.
Go on.
Right. So the last part is, if we only had 100 million to spend, right, and we went out for 5, 60, 70, 80 million pound players, there aren't many 100 million players out there. If I were to ask you to name them, right? And if they are, they're not available. They're playing Champions League football. So you could put 20 million down on 5 players this season. Easy. And Spurs have got over 100 million. Mark my words, right? So you could bring in 5 players. I think we'll get in 4. I'm not including Lucas Bergvall or Vuskovic when he comes in the next season, right? So we can go out. And that's what I've always wanted us to be able to maximise what we can spend in the window. I don't care who owns the club, as long as each season we come round and we can keep a bit back for January, we maximise what we sell in, and we'll also bring in a nice few quid. We'll lose money on a lot of the deadwood we've got to get rid of. We could bring in 100 mil on those. You know. Point over.
Adrian, I got one question, right? If we are so cash rich and blah blah blah, right?
Why are you bringing in
investors at this moment in time?
It's a fair question.
Go on, Eugene. What did you say? I didn't hear it.
No, I said if we are so cash rich and blah blah blah, right? Why has Levy come out and says that we need investors?
Look, it's not a question of being cash rich. It comes with a caveat, Eugene. Right?
Hold on.
Like I mentioned right now, we could go out and buy 500 million pound players, but there's a caveat with that. The whole idea of the rules is to stop players going bust.
Adrian, I'm not even saying we're going out to buy players or not going out to buy players. Have you not noticed? Last season, they had to pump in 100 million pounds into the club.
Yeah.
All right. This season, he's looking for investors.
But we paid back.
Don't you guys see the signs in the accounts?
Right. Our interest rates maximum are 2.85%, which was good. what the club did do actually during those periods of time, they took the government loan. Remember, we lost 2 years of gate receipts,
No, I know, the
like 100 million a
pounds.
year, right?
Yeah.
Well, that affects your cash flow dramatically as a business. We borrowed a loan of the government, but we borrowed a loan, but we paid it back. We've now recovered from that period.
Hold on.
At the time, Ian put the 100, and they didn't go to the stock exchange and record the other 50 million. So we don't know what's going to happen with that at all. Right? We don't know what's happening with that at all. Whether
It's one of the fun of being men.
So basically, what that tells you is the club moved on to a more financial footing. So now we're past COVID, right? And a lot of clubs aren't. Not in Europe, they're not. They're still suffering badly. Right now, we passed the COVID period, and the cover generated money through season ticket sales, everything else, and all the other sponsorship deals, and blah blah blah, and all that. We've got money to spend.
Adrian, we took that loan from the government, £200 million. Then we refinanced that loan again. We put it back into an American, I think was it JP Morgan or some Goldman Sachs to pay back the
link is there.
I actually have it pulled up. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch.
Right. Or is it, Bank of America Merrill Lynch. We took money from them again to pay back that government loan. Right. So we are loaning out we're taking too much loans at the moment. We've got a £800 million loan on the stadium that we're paying.
The stadium debt at the present stands at 671 million, but we owe 300 million in outstanding transfer fees. That's amortized. But Eugene, you see, it's like going to work not in a wage. If you can afford to pay your mortgage, even though you're in debt, and it's going to take you 30, you're okay. You're okay.
I understand. But the thing is that, right, in the previous 4, I mean, Ian, if you're being sent the accounts, right, I'm sure you've read it. It's always come back in the red overall. And if you're a businessman, and if you sit here as a businessman, right, and every time your accounts come back in the red, big up, Stel, right?
Stel,
that is my worry. You guys know, because we pretend we have the money. That's what I'm worried about. You see, I think the other thing, with the money coming in generated by the stadium now, we are just rolling along. You see, that's how I feel. That's my opinion.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Let Ian come in. He obviously knows his stuff below. But being like, how do clubs that are severely indebted go out and buy players then?
Revenue, I think. I think it's the revenue, isn't it?
Oh. They're allowed to go out to buy
players. You've got to prove that you've got the collateral and the revenue streams coming in.
So the Man United,
you've got that, banks will lend you the money. It's that simple.
Right. Okay.
All right. Enough of finance.
I get where you're coming from. Right, Stel, how we doing, mate?
Stel, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, thank you, everyone. How you guys doing? You all right?
Same Spurs today.
Big up, Stel.
And seeing as there's not much to talk about on the other side, we're having our normal money debate. Bring it on.
It's spraying my brain, Dan, bro. All that
mine as well. But there is more to come.
I didn't want to jump on because I was happy to watch. But hey, Adrian, I'm listening to you speak, and honestly, this is the problem with Tottenham Hotspur. Not you, but what you're saying. 100% is the problem with Tottenham Hotspur, right? First of all, it's Daniel Levy.
Getting the brown envelopes, man. You know what I mean?
Still, I just found out Ian holds shares in the club, and we need to talk to him.
Ian, look. Everything Ian described and said, where has that got us? If that was true, where has it got us? We've won nothing. And yet people like defending the finances and we've got to do this. And where has that got us? We win nothing.
Exactly, bro.
We're called a banter. We're called a banter club. We recycle managers and players and managers and players and scouts and that process is you've literally come on here and promoted a failed process. It has failed, right? Spurs can do whatever they want to do. They choose not to do it. Okay. No one's saying go and buy 5 or 6 players for £60 million. What fans are saying are buy quantity, not quality. I'm happy to buy 3 top players and then wait another year for another 3 and then another year, because in 3 years' time, that's 9 quality players. The starting 11 is now pretty good.
And even if you buy 9 quality players and 3 of them maybe don't work out, you still got those 6. And at least you try to go for quality players.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I say from you? Wait a minute. Just from you, yeah? Right. Liverpool said about Bellingham last year, we're not spending £100 million on Bellingham yet. We're going to buy 3 good players for 50 million or less than 100 million. And guess what they did? They bought 3 quality players, man. We could have signed McAllister last year. That was 45 million. That was less than Brendan Johnson we buy. We could have signed him easily. We could have signed Szoboszlai, but we didn't know where. We didn't know who was going to be hit.
Szoboszlai is iffy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know he is iffy, but he was still less than £100 million. No Spurs fan has ever come out and said, yeah, they'll buy £100 million players. I don't know where that excuse came from, but it's pitiful and it's sad. And I wouldn't even use that as an excuse. There's no fan
Billy, I think what fans were saying was that Arsenal can go and drop £105 million on a Declan Rice to change the game, but at Spurs, our manager came out and said, "We're not doing that. That's not the club we are." The message was, we're not prepared to go big to make big things happen. That was kind of the messaging. The specifics of 100 million, 80 million, right,
bro?
Again, if the finances, as Adrian say, are so complicated and so you've got to put all the intricate pieces into play, then why go and make Timo Werner the 3rd highest paid player at Spurs as a backup?
Financially, that's stupid.
The whole thing.
Exactly.
So no one can sell me that what we're doing financially makes sense.
Right. Let me answer that. That's very simple. Why are we questioning all of this? We've had 23 years. Nothing's changed. The more they spend on players and wages, the less for them. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. It's not complicated.
Exactly, bro. You're Ian.
Why do you think? Seriously, why do you think we have not had any stadium rights? The name for the stadium. Why haven't we sold that?
I'll give you that reason. Personal opinion on this one, yeah.
Are they asking
Stadium
for too
rights.
much money?
No, I don't even think it's that, mate. This is personal opinion. Stadium rights, I think Levy has done a shrewd bit of business here, yeah? You take it to America when we got that stadium and everything else, just as football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, was getting big. No one really knew of Tottenham. Not many.
Yeah.
And he got the deal with the NFL and other deals he's got. Right, you're in the middle of America. I mean, I'm going to have to ask more Steve to vouch me on this one.
Yo.
And it's like, right, where are the NFL going to play? Oh, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Who the fuck's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? It's a football team, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's named after their club. Oh, right. Football club, Tottenham Hotspur. Now everything known Tottenham Hotspur. Whereas if it would have gone to, say, Arsenal, for instance, a known club, right, where's our NFL deal? Emirates. Right, we're going to the Emirates in London.
Who's the Emirates?
Not so many would ask who pays there.
You're right, Dan. What you're saying is the stadium is associated with the club. It's intrinsic.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're exactly right,
play
Dan.
at the Emirates, but the average American.
You're exactly right.
Adrian, let Steve finish.
What
Steve,
I'm
start
saying
again,
is,
mate.
yeah, I see exactly what you're saying, Dad. Basically, like, okay, my dad knows about Tottenham because he does soccer bets with me, whatever. My mom knows about Tottenham. Okay, cool. But like most people don't really know about Tottenham Hotspur. Like NFL fans who don't follow soccer, they don't know Tottenham Hotspur. They know that, you know, they've heard of Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, those guys. So what Dan is saying is that associating the stadium with the team name has brought recognition to the club on a commercial level because of it.
Commercial, that's the word I was looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Emirates, if you said the Emirates to an NFL fan that doesn't know about soccer, they're going to be like, what's the Emirates Stadium? I don't know what that play.
It's a stadium in London.
The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Tottenham Hotspur play there.
It's probably costing him less money. Hang on a sec, Eugene. It's probably costing less. It's probably cost him less money to do that than it would to do all the what was the word?
The Amazon place.
Well,
Yeah, to get
guys,
the
it
name
was a very
around. It's
simple
probably
thing.
cost him less money doing that.
It does.
It's a very simple thing. It's called branding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Branding, whatever.
They branded the
Commercializing.
Spurs stadiums to the Americans because of the NFL. But my question is that why did you employ that Klein guy? There was a Todd Klein for what? 3 years, for 3 years contract, right? For what? 1.2 million pounds or 1 million pounds per annum to bring him in. And in the end, right, we never got, remember when Todd Klein came in, we were all jumping up. He's going to get us the Amazon deal, the Google deal,
the naming rights,
the naming rights deal, and all that. In the end of the day, they went back to branding Spurs as the stadium on its own. That could be a brilliant thing because it boosted our American presence, right? Yes. And we get more fans from America, right? But the weird part is, but wait, hold on, guys. The weird part is, have Spurs gone to the States to play one friendly match in the past 3 seasons?
No.
You think that's the messaging?
You're all right. It was supposed to club's commercial global brand, and they discovered that when Todd Klein was in, he was brought in for all commercial activities, not just the naming rights. So like Getter and Cinch and all these other deals would have all gone. Yes, they did still. Don't.
No. It's the messaging, Adrian. I'm sorry.
He wasn't brought in.
No, this is nonsense. When we bought the stadium, right?
You're bringing someone in to do it privately.
This is what I'm saying. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. It's the messaging. The messaging, right? When we started building the stadium, we were told you're going to go Wembley, right? We were told this stadium was going to be a game changer. Nothing has changed so far. We were told when Klein came in, they didn't have to make it public knowledge that they were appointing this guy, but they put it out there and they said he's come in to find stadium naming rights. Yes. Why tell us that? Because now that you haven't done it, we're going in on the board. We're going in on the people that. One second, Adrian. In the Amazon documentary, did Daniel Levy had to say, "I sacked Poch. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do, but Mourinho is the second best manager in the world." Well, don't say that, Daniel, and then sack him a year later because. This messaging, all this constant messaging, the stadium, Mourinho's the second best, Todd Klein's coming to do the naming rights. When all of it fails, who is messaging? The club is doing the messaging. That's the point I'm making.
I'm just
the same happened this season still, isn't it?
I just need to bring up a super chat.
Where we are. Eugene's right in what he's saying.
Adrian,
what
Adrian,
the club
I just need to bring up a super chat, mate, and I'll come straight to you. Rob Frank, thank you very much for the super chat. $4.99 towards your mayo, mate. That means it only cost me 51p now. You're a diamond. Thanks a lot, mate. It's appreciated from the super chat.
Dan, can I just say the messaging as well? They lied to the supporters trust.
Yes, right? Lie.
No. The messaging always the opposite happens to what they say.
I think most of you agree, and I was in agreement with Eugene. Todd Klein was brought in to get the naming rights deal because he got the most successful naming right deals in America for American football team. Right. Then what was happening? He was brought in to do all other commercial stuff as well. You don't bring someone into that, otherwise you just hire him privately. And
that's not what they said to us, though. The messaging wasn't that.
Well, I'm not interested in that still. I'm just trying to explain.
Well, no, I am, because that's the fact. You're making it up, you're guessing.
But it's not where I'm going with the conversation. What I'm saying is,
but Adrian, you're saying you don't care about the facts.
No.
And you're saying stuff that isn't factual.
That's my words. You do it on every show.
No, but you just said I'm not bothered about that. You said I'm not bothered about that. But that was a fact. That's what they said to us.
What the board discovered, and Levy probably more important, they discovered that the success as Eugene was going on, the success of the NFL helped promote our commercial global brand. Also, it's given us the fastest growing fan base in America. There's more supporters clubs, more fans. So it's working. So then they're thinking, we're not in such an urgent position to get a global brand because the Tottenham Hotspur, as Eugene said, the name of the stadium is doing its job.
So why put the ticket prices up then?
Will get a naming right.
So why put the ticket prices up then if they're not? If they're not,
you got a compliment there, mate.
I don't agree with the ticket prices going up. It cost me another 50 quid.
Thank you.
But that contradicts what you've just said.
No,
they're not in urgent need. They're not in urgent need of the stadium naming right money. But they put the ticket prices up.
You're conflating two separate arguments or two separate.
Not money's money, Adrian. Money's money. Income is income. if they're not in urgent need of the stadium naming rights deal, why whack another 6% on the fans?
Still, it's
Well,
paid,
for investors.
it's paid for Levy's yearly bonus, that 3.5 million.
Exactly.
Good one, Ian.
I don't understand.
Exactly.
Right, one who's kept very quiet on this so far, so I'll bring you into it, mate. I know you might not even want to get involved in this one, but you're Spurs fans, and that comes with part of the package. Robbie, opinion on this whole thing?
Look, I can't pretend to have more financial knowledge than I do. I'm only 17 years of age, and half of what Adrian's going on about, I don't have a clue. I'll hold my hands up and say that. What I do have a clue about is that fans are charged the highest season ticket prices, the highest ticket prices in the Premier League since we've gotten this new stadium. Yet year after year, we're competing for Europe, finishing 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th since we've got that stadium. And I look at that, I look at the money that we do have to invest, the fact we never go out there and make that statement signing when we've got the money and we're not in, concern of breaching financial fair play rules. And it's just really frustrating for me when it comes to the ownership. It's really, really frustrating.
I listened to the plans at the AGM about the new grounds that included the museum. Where's the museum? Where are the statues? Where's the statues? Yeah. Let's start with Bill Nicholson and Jimmy Greaves. Where are the statues?
There's no acknowledgement for legends or anything. It's like you look at Chelsea, Arsenal, other grounds. Sorry to cut you off, but you look at other ones, they statues constantly commemorating
Newcastle,
talking about legends. Nothing. Newcastle as well. Nothing at Spurs. Nothing.
Because they're not interested. It's very, very simple. We love the club. We love talking about things. That's, we're all on this podcast because we love the club and we like discussing things with fellow Spurs fans. It's very frustrating. I go to 30, 31 league games every single season. I'm all over Europe. And the problem, and that love will never die. I feel that these owners have taken 20 years out of my life. Mm-hmm. I've never seen us win the league championship. I was just under 4 years old when we won the league in 61. My first trophy that I saw was the League Cup at 71 when I was 13.
At least you've seen one, mate. At least you've seen one. I've seen it.
That's right. And I feel for you guys because it's completely different. For people like me, I saw my first game Good Friday 65. Greaves got 2, Gilly got 3. We bashed Blackburn 5-2. I've seen, we competed for the top players. We went and got Ozzy and Ricky in 78. Mm-hmm. We got Klinsmann in 94. We have people like Sheringham, Anderson. You just look around. Lineker, we beat United.
Yeah, Chris Armstrong as well.
Gascoigne. And you guys have never seen any of this.
Yeah, that's where I feel sorry for them. That's where I feel for them, Ian. I feel sorry for these. Because even me and Stel, I take it Stel's around my age. I can remember Klinsmann coming into the club. I can remember 91 winning the FA Cup and Des Walker scoring the own goal. That's burned in my brain, bro. Right? And these youngsters today, like Lily White, 17 years, we've never seen Tottenham win a trophy. Or you've only seen them win the 1 League Cup, mate. That's heartbreaking, bro. I'm so sorry for you, man. I feel so sorry for you.
Haven't Leicester City since 1999 picked up an FA Cup, Premier League, and 2 League Cups?
Guys, hold on. I just need to say, okay, Haziq out there, right? A Malaysian too. Big up to you. He's from Perak Spurs, right? I'm part of the Malaysian Spurs Exco. I'll get in touch with my president and see what guys are doing there. And don't forget, please subscribe to my channel, Spurs Vision TV. I'm the only Malaysian Spurs YouTuber out there. So take care. Thanks, bro.
I'm big up, Eugene.
Yeah. But guys, it comes out in the end of the day, right? We just won the trophies against, 16 years without one, and it's all the feeling of that, the wash, rinse, and repeat again. So how are we going to change it is that if the fans get together and put pressure on the board that we want a certain kind of results in the footballing sense, then maybe they'll go in that way. But the problem is that our fan, come on guys, we know this, right? The Levy out against the board thing and all that, we are a minority in this fight. So that's the only thing is that how are we going to build on it, and let's see how much more that the rest of the fan base can take from all these lies and BS that we've been fed. That's all.
Eugene, the reality is this, okay? this football club has got a core fan base, like was just mentioned.
One minute,
where
guys.
we love the club, we care about the team, we want to be successful, we want to be entertained, we want to see good signings, we want to back the team. But online and in the media, our football club has been hijacked by investment bankers. They are dictating the narrative. They are dictating the direction of travel. They want everything to go back to money. Any argument you put
Brown
up,
envelopes,
any debate, it's got to go back to a spreadsheet, a pie chart, a financial rule. How's about we talk football? Because there are fundamental things wrong that's got nothing to do with money. For example, how have we signed Timo Werner and we think this is how you build a team to challenge? Most fans don't want Timo. They don't want him, or they're split on him. It's a divisive signing. But, somehow we'll go back to a financial argument. This is the only club. Listen, I watch United channels, Arsenal channels, Wolves channels, Brighton channels, Chelsea channels. I watch them all because I like football and I want to know what the competition's up to. Newcastle channels. We are the only club that sits here arguing about finances every single week, the way we do. No club is so argumentative and constantly going on about finances because that's what they want. They want us to be arguing over the finances because they can put up an argument there. Because if you take it back to trophies, football, heritage, the argument collapses. They've got nothing. They don't have a single argument. We are hijacked by investment bankers. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I'm bang on the money with this. And it's only going to get worse. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Danny.
I've just caught the last part still, but I think I get your gist. They're not interested. I keep saying they're just not interested. They will spend just enough to keep the club competitive so the profits roll in, but they're not prepared to go the extra 10, 20% and make us properly competitive. That's the problem. Nothing is ever going to change. They won't take risks. Levy buys very well when the price is the wrong price for a player. Basuma, 25 million, 1 year left on his contract. Maddison, 30 million. They've just been relegated. The kids we know, people like Sarr, Vicario, Udogi, great work by Perisic. They're all at the wrong price. Everything's at the wrong price. And people will turn around and say, terrific, what a buyer, fantastic. But you know what? When you've got Grealish all signed and sealed for 18 million, and then you go back and you argue because you want another 3 million off and you lose him, and then he goes for 100 million, how clever is that?
Oh, Ian, don't let me go on a Grealish thing, right? That Grealish deal, right? We could have got him from 8 million.
18. The deal was agreed at 18. 18.
18. Okay, let's say for whatever amount. But because Levy saw that at the time, right? Was it Aston Villa? Aston Villa was in trouble, right? And he wanted to squeeze more. He wanted to squeeze the owners to get a lesser price. But when new owners came in, right, and they wanted a higher price, right? That's when we lost that deal for Grealish.
No, they're close to do what Eugene. When the new owners came in, the first thing they did was call Levy up and tell him, get lost. We don't want to sell Grealish to you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
We could have sealed that deal earlier.
Exactly as well.
Right.
You're done.
Okay. Minerals, you've said you've got a big point you want to bring up on this. Go for it, mate.
One point I want to bring up is the Spurs fan base. Like too many Spurs fan base here. They're part of the cartel. They're part of the circle in the game.
We're at civil war, aren't we?
Exactly. So they're part of the pantomime. Like they're selling their souls for the pound note. That's what I mean. Like to get the exclusives, to get whatever they can get from the club. Like to them, it's a money thing. Like they don't care about winning. Like so the brown envelopes. They need their money. So to support this regime, that's what gets them the access to Spurs. And fair play to Ian. You know what I mean? For landing the minerals because he said he's like a shareholder in Spurs. Like you don't toe with the line. But I'm surprised like they haven't like forced you out because don't you have to toe with the Panther Ian? Like toe with their beliefs. Like you have to toe the line. Like believe in Levy. Like read the script.
Listen, they're the owners, and they do what they want with the club. They're entitled to do what they want with the club.
Exactly.
The problem you've got is that our fan base is different to all the others in the Big Six, because none of the other clubs would put up with this nonsense.
Mm-hmm. You know that.
Exactly.
None
Exactly.
of them.
If
he had a go, and we still won trophy in 23 years, then fair enough. No one's guaranteed any success. You can turn around and you say, fine, he's had a go. But, if you're in business generally, and this is the football business. We're not in commodities. We're not in banking. We're not in stocks and shares. It's not, the funny thing is that they're all responsible to shareholders, but the club aren't because they took it private and they don't give a damn about the 13.5%.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I'm saying.
it is what it is. So,
sorry.
Eugene, finish what you can say, and then I'm going to divert this.
That's what I'm saying to Ian, right? There are 30,000, right, shareholders out there, right? That hold shares in Spurs, and you guys make up that 13%. And for this past 20 over years, right? I'm sure that you haven't even got a single cent from the club.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Not one dividend. Not one. And he's taken about 50 million out of the club.
Ian, like I was saying, how comes they haven't cut you off? Because you seem to go against the regime. Because usually it goes like that. If you go against them, like they cut you off, don't they?
Well, he's not Putin or Z from China, is he?
Oh,
yeah.
You wouldn't,
But that's the game, though. That's the game these days. The PR and how it works. Like once you go against the line against the grain to the masses, like they cut you off. But like,
Ian, he's not Putin or Z, right?
But I'm never threatening. I never make personal comments. I'm just talking about him in terms of Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying we're doing anything wrong. This is free speech.
Exactly.
Well, Ian, wasn't Jamie O'Hara doing that last year? And wasn't he getting a phone call from the club telling him to fix up, mate, and not be saying them words out there like they're allowed to the club to hear?
He's on Talk
I'm
Sport.
swear that's what happened to him.
Yeah, no, but he's got a possible audience of millions. I haven't.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's okay.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is one, and people ask me why I have to keep rolling up a fresh one when I spoke on Tottenham shows. Here is the answer. So the next thing that's coming through, and I'm actually reading it on a few pages now. I mean, I think quite a few of us have actually spoke about this. Now, this is one that I think is just words. I don't see it happening. But it's starting to come out in the rumours that Son is interested in leaving and we might be interested in letting him go. Now, personally, back to the money issues, I never see that happening. I could see Son staying with us till he's 40. But it is actually starting to hit the rumours that in other countries, in the Saudi and everything and that, they're very interested in him, willing to pay some big money for him. And supposedly, so the papers say, he's meant to be interested himself. Was anyone thinking that? I mean, I think we're all pretty much sure that just is not going to happen. But if that was to actually come through, I mean, the man's 32. He's on his way down. Yes, he is the best we have up front. No two ways about it. I mean, that's not even particularly hard. I could probably go up there and do a better job than most of them. And what do you sort of think on the chances of that happening? And would you accept it to happen?
I don't think it will happen, but I believe that the Saudis are probably interested in him because you bring in Son, you also bring in the huge amount of Korean fans that he has who then watch your league and the team that he's playing for. and more eyes on Saudi Arabia. That's what they're doing with boxing, what they're doing with football. They're trying to get in the big stars and the big players with audiences of their own, so that they can get viewers. But in terms of actually, do I see it happening? I don't. I really don't. I think Son will probably stay at Spurs till the end of his career. If a fairly decent deal did come in now, or offer for 60+ million, I'd personally accept it. I think Son is getting on. I think he's been a great servant and quality for us, but we've seen the last couple of seasons he hasn't been the same player that he once was. The ability's still there, but the consistency isn't. But look, if a big deal does come in, I'd be happy to let him go. He's been a great servant, though, fantastic for us. But at the same time, I do believe that the Saudis are probably interested in him. They're not going to, try and go for him. But I don't think Son wants to go necessarily. All we hear from ITKs and journalists and people in the club is how happy and loyal he is and how much he enjoys being at Tottenham. So it's an interesting. I think
captain.
Let's consider the facts. 17 goals, 10 assists. Number one, from the footballing side. Captain, runs a happy ship. Let's look on the financial side. And I know this because one of the guys I deal with, I deal with South Korea in business. One of the two guys I deal with is a massive Tottenham fan. The information he gave me was that 70% of all football fans in South Korea support Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
70%. I mean, that must run to millions.
Yeah.
Secondly, he was telling me there are trips every single home match, 2,000-3,000 fly across for long weekends. You cannot get on these trips.
Yep.
And the money that they spend on merchandising in the grounds is immense, just immense. Yeah. So from a football point of view and a business point of view, why would Spurs sell Sonny in this summer window?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
I'm from Asia myself, right? Son playing for Spurs makes me proud, but I've come to the stages that if the price is right and Son has to go because it's still the club. I don't support Son. I support Spurs. I've been a Spurs fan for 40 over years, but Son makes me proud because he represents Asia for me. But my fear now is right. Maybe Son sees that he doesn't have confidence in Ange, and maybe he wants to leave. That's my fear because after Kane left, that telepathic combination that they have, Son lost it, and every time Son being played in the center, I can see he's frustrated because that is not his position. So for all you know, if the price is right and maybe he wants to go, maybe it's Saudi or maybe it's somewhere back in the Premier League. We really do not know, right? But if the price is around 70 or 80 or 75, I'll let him go, honestly. Then it's up to Daniel Levy to find another Asian star somewhere, right?
Well, the thing is, I think people are not taking all the maths into consideration how much money he's worth to the club because they're going to exercise the extension on his contract while they're working out a new contract for him. And if you look at it, it makes sense. You could sell some for 60 million if you really wanted to. Someone would probably buy him for 60 million. But if he signs another 2 or 3 year contract with his club, how much money does it bring in shirt sales? A lot more than that 60 million. If he stays an ambassador at the end of his career, how much money does that bring in for Levy? Multi-million, mega millions. Son's going nowhere. There is zero. Plus, he loves the club. And if you're Son, Eugene, let's be fair on the panel. If you're Son, you've been at Spurs all these years, nearly 10 years, whatever it is. You love the club. We know he loves the club, right? But you really want a fresh start where you got to prove yourself all over again somewhere else.
Adrian,
I don't think he has to prove.
Hold on, Adrian. I'll tell you the truth, right? I'm Asian. Sonny's Asian, right?
Yeah.
No matter how much you love the club, right? If the dough is big enough, we go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think the money's
I agree with you, man.
I just don't think.
You know why?
You get the rare player who's not money driven. They love their club. And I just think Son's one of them. Could be wrong.
No, I mean, yeah, I know. But in the end of the day, he can go and he can come back again. It doesn't matter. You can see not. He can go to Saudi and play for the last 2-3 years of his career. He still can come back to Spurs to be an ambassador for Spurs.
Yeah.
But in that day, I see it.
I'd be very surprised if Son leaves this club. I would.
I'll be surprised too.
I mean, but I don't see it happening.
It's where I'm coming from, where he's coming from. I'll go, right? Because money speaks, right? Imagine if Saudi comes out and says that we're giving you 500,000 euros per week. Won't you go? I will go.
Yeah, I would. You know what I mean?
I would.
Can't wait to get my money.
Money speaks louder than words. That is one thing we all do know. But the one reason I personally think we would keep Son without a doubt is the fact of the income that he brings into the clubs. Into the
But
club.
doesn't that cause a problem though, Danny? Because you got fans there paying how much did you say, Ian, thousands to come over and watch Sonny? That means that Sonny has to play every single game because they've just come here to watch Sonny, mate. So therefore, he cannot be dropped. And this is the problem I had years ago. It means he cannot be dropped because they've come here just exclusively to see Son. And when fans would say, "Oh, you have to drop him," you can't drop him because he makes the money.
What if
This is
he's
why it goes back to the point of the money that the club brings in from outside the club, not even the football. It's massive. And I'm not going to go back into the money part and whatever, but yes, Son is part of that. Why we have got so worldwide as such supporters wanting to come over here to purely not to see Tottenham play, but to see Son play.
Dan, can I just debunk something here? So when it comes to shirt sales, there's not actually mega money in it. Right? I'll give an example. On average, a club makes it like between 7.5 to 15% commission off a shirt sale. The rest goes to the manufacturer. That's why Nike gives us 25 million pounds per year. We get sponsored by Nike because they take most of the profit. If Spurs sold 1 million Spurs shirts, how much is a kit now? 80 quid? Let's just say 80 quid.
About
1 million times 80.
For sure, it's 80, I think.
125.
Okay, so
it's all the other merchandise.
Let's just for the sake of argument, if we sold 1 million shirts for 80 quid, that's 80 million pounds that comes in. 7.5% of that is what, about
5 mil, 5.5,
5-6 million. So we only make 5-6 million pounds, and that's offsetting 1 million. So let's say Heung-Min's son, just alone, he sells 1 million shirts. He only brings us 6.5 million. That doesn't even cover his wages. So
no, does it depend if it's a pro version or if it's a kid?
Most people buy the 80 quid one. I'm gonna guess most people buy the 80 quid one. Right?
No, I was talking about like if it's a kid's or a woman's or a men's or a pro, or does it all just get grouped into?
No, it's just let's say overall, right? And guys, to tell the truth, right?
I think Eugene, I think once you add up kit sales, kids clothing, other merch, tracksuits, hoodie. Once you add up everything, I reckon Spurs probably make between 25 to 30 million, there or thereabouts per year at best.
Because that's what it's all to do with the deal with Nike, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where Nike making their money.
So I don't think we make mega money on the merch. I think where we make the money with Son is
them coming over to watch him play.
That plus, I think there must be some kind of commercial advertising deals in place that we're not like. We're not
in Korea, you understand? The branding of Son being a Spurs player in Korea. Maybe there's some other deals there from the club that we do not know. We are not aware about.
Well, Eugene, how do all those Koreans watch Spurs? How would they watch Spurs? What would they have to do to watch us?
Like me, right? I have to subscribe to a cable provider that gives us the.
There's where the money is then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a way some of that feeds into Spurs through third
and
party
guys, don't forget,
media companies.
Spurs play. The other part is Spurs play. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
when
maybe.
And then maybe there's about 5 to 10 million Spurs fans in Korea. Let's say 10% takes it. There's money there again. 20%.
That's where the money is.
Wait, so Stel. So okay, because like memorabilia. Let's say you buy a football with a Son autograph on it. Does all the profits go to Tottenham? And someone bought that?
It depends if it's a Nike product, if it's like
a standard ball. If it's not a Nike football.
Well, yeah, if Spurs have sourced a cheap supplier, then yeah, Spurs will take a much bigger cut. Of course they will. But how many of those are they selling? What's the biggest seller at any club? It's a shirt. That's the number one sold product. That and probably matchday scarves, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
No.
Maybe matchday scarves.
Hats, maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
Every club you go to, fans are wearing the shirt
and the scarf.
This club, this club. Let me start again. This question that has been asked here by Jay. Question for you, Ian.
Yes.
Now, I'll leave this to you one purely, Ian, because, well, we can go further on it, but it will just take us back to the Levy part of it again, which I don't really wish to do. Do you see MSP investing into Spurs?
I hope not.
No.
And why not?
Why not? Because I don't see Levy going anywhere. I think there is probably more chance of him staying at the club for life and finding a way to buy out Lewis. Personally, why would he want to make money? So look at the figures. The turnover's superb. Everything's going in the right direction. You're a businessman and you've come through 2 years of COVID, and all of a sudden things are now starting to motor financially. It wouldn't surprise me if they get a franchise for the NFL.
100%. 100%.
He's not going anywhere.
He's a loophole merchant.
The Hotspur Hurricanes. The Hotspur Hurricanes are coming.
Why would he sell out? Or allow his situation?
Exactly, bro. He's
the
so
only point
honestly, I don't see it. I just see Levy at the club for life.
The only point I can make out with that is roundabout, forget the 0.6, this and that, whatever. It's 70% Lewis, 30% Daniel Levy. Now we all know this goes Enoch, this and that, but it is basically them two there, yeah. Now, if they was to actually buy 40% of this club, which I just don't think they got the revenue to do anyway, because we're probably the most expensive club to buy in England. Because of what happens goes either way. Forget that, yeah. If they was to buy in 40%, and Joe Lewis is willing to sell his 40%, Daniel Levy don't have a say in the matter. But I think Daniel Levy's also got the power to tickle up Joe Lewis enough to turn it down to a 25% buyer, so that Levy still has the main say in the money.
Dan, do you not think in the shareholders' agreement between Joe Lewis and Daniel Levy, that 100% have got a shareholders agreement? Do you not think that maybe in that shareholders agreement that Daniel Levy's got first dibs on buying out Joe Lewis before he sells at fair market value? So
absolutely,
it wouldn't surprise me. But when you look at it, so
then Daniel technically could bring in investors of his own to back him in a subcontract, and then buy out Lewis, and then bring in, and then he picks the next investors. But he still bought out Lewis through the agreement of the shareholders' contract.
Correct.
He's a genius.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think Lewis, who is obviously, he's significantly better off than Levy. If he gets that offer, he can sit there and then basically say, like it goes with a player, you've got first dab on that player. But if someone else offers more money than that, then that first dab on that player goes out the window, unless that player wishes to go to that club. So if the player's worth 40 million and Tottenham have got first call on him, 40 million, we'll have him, and then, I don't know, Man United come in and say, there's 60 million. Well,
Spurs
have first dab on him, that's out the window. So Adrian, hang on a sec. So with that, if Joe Lewis wants to sell and he puts a price down, and Levy matches that price, but MSP was to sort of offer another 10%, that basically makes Daniel Levy's one void, because he had first call on it. But now
that's why the shareholders' agreement, it will say fair market value. So if someone comes in with an insane offer, that's not fair market value. What you'll have 3 or 4 individuals that will come in and each value the company, and you kind of take the median or the mean average between them, say, look, this is fair market value. But at the same time, if you were right, Dan, and someone comes in and surpasses the price, so from 40 million, someone offers 60 million, Daniel would still have first dibs on matching that 60 million.
Yeah, matching it if he
Yeah,
can.
absolutely.
If
You're
if
done.
he can match it.
You're done, bro.
Go on.
So I wanted to say and ask Ian pretty much like, does the club, right? Seems you're kind of an insider. Like, does the club like have fans on the payroll? Like fans doing like PR?
Like Alistair Gold or something, or what?
Yeah, something like that.
What fans do you think are on the payroll?
Like Alistair Gold, Chris Cowlin, to push out the club.
When it comes to all the PR, they're all on the payroll as far as I'm concerned. Just like Arsenal lot are, just like our players are, and whatever. Right, go out. You say this, this, and this, and you will be allowed.
I was asking Ian because Ian is inside.
Minerals.
Believe me, I'm not an insider. I'm not an insider. What I will tell you, I went to. Funny enough, I've been to two very good Spurs Forces Trust evenings over the last 4 years. One a couple of months ago, and one I think it was probably just pre-COVID, when they invited several journalists in who follow Spurs. And I was having a chat with one of them at the end of the first one, and I said to him, I was telling him how I felt about the club and what he thought, and he said, look, he said, I earn my living out of the club. I get stories from the club. If I start slating them off, I'm cutting my face, whatever I think. So I think people have got to be a little bit understanding. I think when it comes to national newspapers, then you've seen articles by Oliver Holt for the day, for the Sunday Mail or Daily Mail that was slaughtered Spurs the other year. It's at the end of the day, they own the club. They can do with it what they want. It's their club, and unfortunately, it's not going to change. The fan base,
Ian, wasn't there something in 2013 or 2012 here where when one journalist said something about Spurs and they were banned for life?
I don't know.
I'm sure that came out years ago. They said something bad about Spurs here in the press, and Levy banned them from the stadium, and he banned them for life.
I honestly can't remember. It doesn't.
I'll Google it.
Maybe they went against their daddy. You know what I mean?
Ian, isn't there a conflict there though? Because without mentioning names, if you've got a journalist who is a Spurs fan who covers Tottenham Hotspur, and they're controlled what they say, they're controlling what they say because if they say something different, they lose access to the club. Therefore, they can't be a journalist no more covering the story. Mm-hmm. So they have to sell themselves in order to have a job. And like you said, fair enough, it's money. But that journalist is now pushing out those stories that fans believe. So now you're teaching fans something that isn't necessarily the truth in full, but you've got to push out that kind of a story. Otherwise, you lose access to what allows you to do your job. So isn't there a conflict there from that particular journalist? Not just Spurs. This happens at all clubs, by the way.
Arsenal, that's what I was saying.
Arsenal just as bad.
Well,
Arsenal were the worst ones for that.
I think in a world where the truth doesn't matter anymore, I think people have got to. No, it's true. It's true. Let's not be about that.
It's true.
People have just got to look at who's writing it, what their narrative, what their agenda is, and they've got to look across. If you want to see stories about what's going on in any part of the world, go and look on different newspaper sites, different TV sites, and you work out for yourself who gives a fair and more centrist, a more unbiased opinion. And I think that goes whether it's news, whether it's journalism, etc., and it comes down to football as well. It's right the way across the board.
Don't just get one side of the story. Get everybody's.
It's like
the thing about Spurs is that we watch the matches.
Yeah,
and that's what we care about. So we can form our own opinion on what our eyes see.
The thing with the news media, the whole story about MSP, I would dismiss it instantly because it won't be NSP, even though the club have employed Rothschild's bank to look for future investors or to have a large stake in Spurs. The problem with MSP is that they lent about 160 million to 777, who've got stakes in Everton, and Everton's income and revenue now, their debts are higher than their revenue streams. And MSP may end up owning Everton Stadium the way things are going because they're that indebted. Plus the fact that like they it's like having the money to do a deal. There's no way they're going to come up with what Levy would really want, which the rumour is like 40% stake in the club. That's too big a chunk for them, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to buy that with 777 and all that. See, they're like a Ponzi scheme that with Everton. This is
no. You can't be what Sean Butler says, word for word.
Be careful.
Word for word.
Still, let me finish. We have to be careful because investors like that come along, the due diligence
independent
has to be
thinking
done
now.
on them. I'm not against new owners that do a better job. I'm all for
Adrian,
it.
can I ask you a question?
No, let me finish,
Adrian,
Stel.
can
Let
I
me
ask you a
finish my
question?
point.
All right, go on.
Let me finish my point.
No, fair play.
The problem is when you get companies like 777 come along, who've got loads of interest in other clubs and all that, and then they're robbing Peter to pay their failing businesses and all that shit. It's not good for the club. Plus, the other thing with MSP is, right, you're not allowed.
Our owners in court in America.
You're not allowed. Hold on. You're not allowed under Premiership rules or European rules to own more than 10% in another football club. And
But Adrian, why are you black out empty?
Hold on.
Why are you black out empty? I'm not going to be nasty. Why are you?
We were talking about
Adrian.
that.
There's ways around it. Look at the. What you do is you build a company like Man City built.
Yeah, there's loopholes, Adrian.
They do percentage ownership. That's how Man City have bought
the City Group.
From
why not have
Girona they bought Savio as an Estac 3 player.
I believe what Levy wants is someone who can come along who's a single entity, not a group of people where they'll have a power struggle, who will then want to take money out of the club and milk it like the Glazers did at Man United.
Daniel Levy takes money, £3 million bonus.
Right, he's already milking the people.
That's peanuts.
Come on. Daniel Levy will do everything for the pound notes.
Hang on.
I want to ask Adrian a question.
£500 million business he's running.
Right, Adrian,
Let's ask you his question. Let him ask you a question.
Right? So, because I asked this to Dan and to one other person the other day, right? And I asked, in fact, I'll ask everyone this, but Adrian, I'd like you to answer first, okay? For me, this thing about ownership comes down to what is your level of risk as a fan? Okay, so there's two options. Either we keep Enoch and Levy, and the risk is we don't know what they're going to do. We can only look at what they've done so far, which is make money, become wealthier, and as fans, we've had no success. Okay, does that mean that will be the same going forward? The truth is we don't know. But most of us believe that's pretty much how it's going to go, right? So that's one option. Is your risk to keep the same going on in hope it might change? The other risk is new owners. We don't know what they're going to do. They could come in and say A, B, C, but they do D, E, F. We could end up having an owner like Man City or like the Cronkies at Arsenal or the Leicester owners when they won the league, or we could have owners like FSG, what they did at Liverpool, or we could have a Mike Ashley and Everton. It could go one way or the other, or nothing changes at all. So the question is this: would you rather risk keeping the same owners doing what they're doing, or take a risk that a new owner comes in, makes us better, or potentially makes us worse? That's the question that we need to ask as Spurs fans. What is your risk? Same old, or take a punt of something going better, but potentially worse?
Do you want to be alive or
you
dead?
can eliminate the risk, though, can't you?
I want to ask Adrian what he thinks.
No, you can eliminate that risk for new owners straight away. If you do, there's lots of people out there, lots of professionals out there that do due diligence and other companies when they go in and buy and do takeover deals and all that. You do the proper due diligence and then you haven't got the risk. And then if you know they're financially sound, then you say, okay,
Adrian, that's not a question.
Hold on. Yes, he did. He's asked about the risk, Eugene. I'm answering the question.
He's asking your risk. What risk are you willing to take? Not the people coming in to buy the club, the risk.
It's not my risk. I don't own the club. Right?
That's what I'm asking you.
What I'm saying to you, I'm giving you the answer. There isn't a risk if you do proper due diligence and you
Right,
know that
no,
whoever's-
no,
If there's
because you
no
don't know what they're
way,
going
why
to do.
didn't you just
Google
say
come
that?
in.
Question.
Google come in. They're owned by Alphabet. They're worth over $1 trillion. Right?
Adrian,
Alphabet
Adrian, that's not the
Adrian,
question.
hang on, can I,
Hold on,
Stell,
hold
can I answer that? Adrian, what Stell's saying
Go
to
on.
you is, he's not saying about due diligence and finances. What he's talking about is strategy. Are we going to get somebody who is going to run the club exactly the same way that Enid have, where they run it financially for them? I mean, they've done a great job for them when they sell, and they'll turn 220 million pounds worth of investment into 3 or 4 billion, which is an amazing turnaround. So you got to take your hat off to Enid. Having said that, also, I think anybody with any business acumen, with the money that's poured in from Sky since Enid joined, should be making a profit. They're not all going to make the same sort of mistakes like a fan called, ran it at Everton and put them in trouble. That's probably the only instance in main Premier League clubs since Leeds, because nobody's gone bankrupt, have they? No one's gone bust in the Premier League with all the money coming in. What Stell's saying is, do we, as a fan, do you want to stay with the status quo and hope maybe that Levy looks at it and thinks, do you know what? I'm going to make my money. Let's go and achieve something in the business that I'm in. And that's what we all hope. That's what we all want. Or if he's not, then we're looking at it. I'm probably going to be dead in another 23 years because I'm nearly 67. So I probably won't see Spurs win anything.
Well, I'm 70 in January.
Or do you say, right, life's about living. So it's about taking risks, having a go. Let's get someone else in who's new. Let Enid take their profit. Let someone else come in. Let's see if they can turn Spurs into a winning machine. This is what we all want.
Adrian, I don't understand it about you. Can I just say about Adrian?
Right?
Hang
And
on.
I've
I want to be
stated it on
balanced there. Hold on.
numerous podcasts. What I've always
Adrian.
wanted is for us to be able to maximise what we can do in the transfer window under the rules, whether that's with Leany or new owners. That's what I want. Right? That's what I want.
Adrian,
Right,
that's not what I asked.
Adrian.
Can I rephrase it one more time? If I gave you
Go on,
two
then, then
choices,
Phil.
right? If I gave you a choice, keep Enoch and Levy, or bring in new owners, but the risk with the new owners is they might make us winners, they might make us worse. So what do you want? Same old, or take a risk that we could go better, or maybe even worse? Which one would you choose if I gave you those two options?
Whatever makes
That's a
us
simple.
better.
That is a simple question. Yeah.
Whatever give us
That
the
is
best
call
chance
or
for
roll the
winning
dice.
trophy.
We don't know what's going to make us better. That's the risk.
Which one? You're asking me.
That's the risk.
This is the thing. When it comes to new
What we know
owners,
is we're doing nothing now.
rumours
That's
in
what
the
we know.
past, again, right? You can alleviate that risk and then make a better decision once
Right,
you.
Adrian, now the question is,
that
are you
Levy-
willing to take
know
that risk?
Levy's
Yes or
been
no?
useless on the football side of the club. That is not the argument here.
Right,
The point
Adrian,
is, at
are
least
you willing to take that
There is
risk?
no
Yes or
right or
no?
no.
Black or white? Are you willing to take
not
that
without
risk?
more information. No, I'd rather stick with the devil we've got.
Right, there we
cool.
go.
Okay,
There's your
that's
answer.
what
Fair
I
answer.
asked.
That's the
That's what I
answer.
asked.
No,
Fair
because I need
answer.
to know. I don't want
See, brothers,
7 or MSP.
So you don't think,
I don't
you
want
don't think
But
there's-
Adrian, the problem is we would never know as a fan. Like my point is this: an owner can say they're going to do. Enoch told us they were going to do things. They haven't done it. Right? This is what I mean. Enoch looked like a good to Alan Sugar. Enoch looked like a good proposition to take us to the level that he couldn't. They haven't.
And
The
I would
new
say
owners
this,
could.
Neil,
The new
hold
owners,
on
you
to
could do your
nurse
due
the fear of
diligence.
something worse.
Hang on, Adrian.
You could
Let's delve
You
in.
could do your due diligence on a new ownership. You could do your background checks. Doesn't mean once they get hold of the club, they think, actually, hold on, maybe we should do what Enoch did. That was quite a good owner, right? So that's the risk. We don't know. Or
Right,
they could
I'll be
come in and
back
say, we're gonna give these fans what they want. Let's win the league. Let's win the Champions League, like what Liverpool's FSG owners did, for example. So that's what I'm
I don't
saying.
even rate them. I have a question for Adrian, actually. So, Adrian, what would your reaction be if Levy and Enoch tomorrow said we're selling the club? Would you be freaking out, or would you be like, this could be a new start for Spurs? What would you feel about that?
If they had a bar and they were selling the club, right? All right.
How would you feel about it?
Hold on. First, obviously, it's all got to go through the stock exchange, and Ian would get a vote because he's.
There's no stock exchange. We are not a public listed company. How many times going to tell you that?
It's a private
Come
company.
on, E, man.
Ian.
Adrian.
When they produced that 150, which was going to be the loan that had to go through the stock exchange.
They didn't have to go to no stock exchange.
Let's assume all that's done.
If the club is sold, right,
all of that
has to be put to you as a shareholder. All the shareholders have to be involved. That has to be agreed with.
Correct. That's
They
right.
just not sell it
stock
like that.
exchange.
Can't sell it like that, right? Look, if they were going to sell it, I would hope that the due diligence is done. And they're just going, we just want to take the money. We don't care who the new owners are, whether they got the welfare of the club. You know,
so
their best
you sound
art or
pretty nervous. You said you. It sounds like you're kind of nervous if Levy and Enoch would sell. It sounds like you're kind of nervous about the future if that happens.
I've watched the club play from the double side upwards. I'm cautious. I've seen us go through crisis. I've seen us relegated.
Okay, so why don't you roll the dice?
Bankrupt in 1991, right? I am naturally cautious when it comes to the club I love for over nearly 70 years, right? So, so naturally, of course, I'm cautious.
Adrian, do you think the way the club is set up now? Do you think the way the club is set up right now, in terms of the stadium built, the finance payments in place for the stadium, the revenues we generate, the NFL contract, the opportunities to scale even more third-party revenues? Do you think the way we're scaled up now, that even an average investor could fuck this up?
Spell. I'm gonna.
I don't think they can. I think we're set up perfectly for whoever comes in.
Guys. All this investor things, right, is BS. You know why? Nobody is going to come in and pump in 500 million pounds to £1 billion, right, and get no return of investment. Look at Ian. Ian has been holding shares of the club. He's part of that 30,000 shareholders that Daniel Levy talked about and has got zero dividends in the past 24 years. Ask Ian that. Ian is part owner of Spurs.
Yeah, but I bet his shares are worth more.
Eugene,
I bet his shares are worth more.
But his shares are worth money now. Yes, his shares
sold
are
his shares tomorrow.
If I get a consortium, right, okay, of a billionaires from Southeast Asia, right, and I go to Ian, right, and tell Ian, guys, I want to buy up that 13% of Spurs shares. What would you guys want? Would Ian sell it? That's my question.
Probably not.
Right. See? Under that basis, Eugene, why would anyone in the right mind buy a football club? Hold on. There's a reason for it, right? Why would anyone in the right mind buy a football club? You're not going to make money out of it. We know us fans are going to demand more and more each year. We're always going to want the club to spend. If the owners go skint and spend all their money, we expect the new owners to come in and do the same thing. So the reason owners come in and buy football clubs like Tottenham Hotspur is not because they're going to make money or get a return on their money in their lifetime. Because if you're a multi-billionaire and you bought Spurs tomorrow for 5 billion, right, or 4 billion or 3 billion, right, you're not going to see a return on that 3 billion. Your equity will go up in value, but you're not going to see a return on that.
Why did Stan Kroenke buy Arsenal?
Why
did Stan Kroenke buy Arsenal?
I'm coming to this. So you're not going to see a return on your money in your lifetime. So why do you do it? With Spurs, there's a great reason for doing it. There's a fantastic reason for doing it. It's a shining jewel in London, right? You've got all the spin-offs with it, the events and everything else. Plus, if you are a trillionaire company like Alphabet and all that, you don't buy it to make money. What do? You buy it to enhance your global brand because you've got hundreds of businesses under your wing. You've got
buy it to make money.
And then you can take your clients to that ground. You can wine and dine them. You can generate more business and more wealth just by using the club. You use the club to enhance your club. Why do you think
you'd buy Spurs for £4 billion so you can wine and dine clients?
Yeah,
it's more than that. Obviously, it's more than that.
No rich person is.
Why?
Nobody's going to buy our club.
Whoa, slow down.
By Newcastle.
Mate, look at what Stan Kroenke's done at Arsenal. Look at what Stan Kroenke's done at Arsenal.
Right,
you look at doom and gloom. Adrian, you sound like doom and gloom. I'm sorry, you do.
Put Levy to shame.
Look,
Still,
the fans wanted Kroenke out still, didn't they?
Yeah,
How
but-
wrong were they? How
Change.
wrong were they?
Well,
How wrong
still,
were they?
couple of things.
Yeah.
Firstly, let's just touch on Kroenke. After the European Super League came in and went out within 2 days, Kroenke sent his son across. I think they realised the feeling and the passion at Arsenal. I think they realised what they really had. And he's been involved full time. And look at the way they have backed Arteta. So, and that's just part of their group of companies, isn't it? Arsenal is just one of several clubs. They've been successful with every other club. They've won their league, and they'll probably be successful with Arsenal in the next couple of years.
NFL, basketball, ice hockey,
Absolutely, everything. Secondly, in terms of buying Tottenham, when you look through the Premier League, Tottenham is the best turnkey deal for any investor. You've got the ground built. Chelsea needs to build a ground. United needs to build a ground. City got theirs from the council. Yeah, Arsenal have done their bits. They're done. So, you know, in terms of what you've got and what he's set up, Levy, with absolutely everything else, and I agree with using the club. You know, people used to say, oh, the ground only gets used for 25 days a year. I remember hearing that as a kid. It's ridiculous. Full marks to Levy and the team going out and bringing in all the other activities. You've got boxing, rugby league, rugby union. You've got concerts. You've got NFL. They've done it. And now you've got a racetrack, and that's the cost has been negligible, I've been told. So you've got a terrific situation there for somebody coming in. You've just then got, I think there's about 12 different companies within ENIC. So you've just got to work out what you'd be buying and what you're getting, and what, you know, whether the ground part, whether the stadium's part of it.
Don't buy
But they have made it. ENIC have made it very, very attractive for an investor to come in and buy it.
Exactly. This is one thing I agree with, and I've said the whole time. On the business point of view and on a football point of view, you could even say Spurs, they are one of the most that you would go for, because you go there, the money's there already to be made.
Yeah,
the stadium's there, the tracks are there, the hotels are going to be there, everything's going to be there to make the income, man.
Exactly, bro. Spurs are
they've actually got as all they would actually have to do is keep that side ticking, which wouldn't even be hard. It would just be doing its own thing. And then as all they've got to do is concentrate on the football side, which, if anything, is cheaper than the rest of it. All the massive stuff, which costs more than the football, like a stadium, the grounds, and everything else, is done. It's up to date. It's all out for the taking. Whoever comes in has just got to be willing to do an Abramovich, basically, and say, right, I now want this football team to be big. And that's actually cheaper than everything else that has been done. I'm not saying
while you make your football, and while you make your football team big, right, you get more fans from across the world, because
but Danny, go on. What makes you different from a property developer? If that's the case, and you've just told me that now, what makes you different to people who do homes under the hammer? What's different to them? Because that's what they do. They come in there, they renovate the place, they fix it up, and then they sell it for more profit. So you're no different to them. But wait a minute, you own a football club, mate, and people come here to watch the football. This is what they've come here to watch. Now, I was going to ask Adrian one question. Yeah, you're a Spurs fan, innit? Right? You've seen Tottenham win countless trophies in your lifetime. Wouldn't you want to share that with Lily White Lane? Wouldn't you want to share that kind of that experience with him? Wouldn't you want to?
Look,
you would like to, would you?
Podcast, when I get accused of being like delusional because I'm really a 75% glass full person, not half empty and half full, I would leave. I said I live a mile and a half from the ground. I'm a lucky person. I can go to the games. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm lucky I could afford to buy a season ticket, right? I would leave my front door if I thought we were going to lose a game of football. That's my mentality and always has been.
You've been wrong 13 times this season then.
Sorry?
You've been wrong 13 times this season.
Well, yeah, but it's not going to stop you believing. It's like when you come to a pre-season.
Well, no, you can accept the reality of what you're watching and say, hold on, we're going to lose this. I knew we were going to lose against Arsenal. I told everyone. But if I say that, then my glass
Fine,
is half empty.
Look,
It's not.
your mentality.
It's about being
Hold on. You're entitled to your mentality. You have your mentality. I have mine.
It's not my mentality. It's
The team
fact.
that I love.
It's fact. It's not mentality. It's
No,
fact.
hold
These
on,
things
hold
happen.
on. Before a game, you may think Spurs may win, lose, or draw, whether home or away, but you don't know it. Because if we know it, we'd all be multi-millionaires. Right?
I knew they were going to
got a
beat
good
us.
idea.
I knew we were going to lose away at Chelsea. Go on Tottenham away. The receipts
your house
there.
on it, then you're the one.
Like I said, it's still Arsenal home and away this season. We've been the better team both games.
I agree.
And all three goals that Arsenal scored at the Lane should have been wiped out. They should have all been disallowed.
And when we went away to Arsenal, right, I said to everyone, Arsenal fans are getting cocky. Don't underestimate Spurs. We're playing all right. We went there, we got a draw. Against Arsenal, you knew our set piece tactics were going to cost us. I said this: we're playing the best defense piece scoring team in the country. That's what Arsenal were. Fact. We are one of the worst. Fact. It was a recipe for disaster. That's exactly what happened. I don't like this notion. I don't like this notion of like your mentality is not right or you're negative. No, I'm looking at the data. I'm looking at the facts. I'm trying to come to
I'm not saying it's wrong. I said you're entitled to it.
Right.
No, you question the mentality.
No,
you question the mentality.
All fan bases have different. All fan bases have different mentalities still, and they're entitled to them.
No, but you said my mentality.
No,
and I'm saying it's not about my mentality. I'm looking at
I said you're entitled to your mentality if you think that way. Again, you twist words. You always do it.
I didn't twist it.
You didn't twist it. No, Adrian.
We didn't twist it that time, Adrian. Not that time.
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't twist it. I said exactly what you said.
No.
And I didn't say your mentality was wrong. It's different.
No, hold on, Adrian. You said that you wouldn't go to a Spurs game if you thought that we were going to lose, right?
Exactly. I said I wouldn't leave my front door.
Yeah, but then you put the caveat in because my glass 75% full, meaning if someone thinks differently to you, then their glass isn't quite. It's different. And I'm saying no.
I didn't say that. Again, you're making things up.
You said your glass is 75% full.
I did say what you followed it up with, and you always do that I now said other people are wrong because of something, and I didn't say that.
All right.
Look, Dan, hold on a minute. My point is this. If fans believe we're going to win trophies, if fans believe we're going to win the Champions League, if fans believe we're going to win every game, fine. I have no issue with that. Adrian, good for you. I don't have an issue with it. But I don't want to hear any questioning of the alternative view, which is mine, the mentality being different. Or the glass, is it full? Is it half empty? I don't want to hear that because I've backed up everything I've said this year and it's come true. It's come true. No, but you're
Adrian, if I said to you,
just because I'm 75% full, that I'm everyone else who's different with me, I totally disagree with. That's untrue. It's not true.
So you think my glass is 75% full as well, then? Yeah.
No.
That's my point.
You're not listening. I said I'm a positive Spurs fan, right? I'm a positive Spurs fan.
Adrian, what am I?
Not totally delusional, but I like to be positive. We're going to a new season. I want to go into a new season believing that we'll have a good transfer window, that we've got a good chance of winning domestic trophies.
Can we come back in September, Adrian?
Believing in them.
I've got nothing, Adrian. I've got nothing against you. I've got nothing against you saying that. I've got nothing against you. I will never tell a fan what they must think and how they must believe. I'm not saying that. Right. No. I give up. I literally just said to you. Am I the same? And you said no.
There's a phrase here. Before we go back to this one, hang on still. Before we go back to this one, right. There's a phrase to use here. It's called woosah. Woosah. Right, there we go. Steve, you said you wanted to make a point on this, and then I'll come back to Adrian's point.
Yeah, the analogy in terms of how attractive Spurs are compared to the other top clubs. You know what Spurs are? Y'all are a brand new Ferrari. Every upgrade, your stadium is set to go. You have fan base. You have the history. You have this. You are the brand new Ferrari. All you need to do is let a different driver drive it, and that new driver has to put gas in the car. That guy, Daniel Levy, sucks at driving the Ferrari like it's supposed to be fucking driven, like a Ferrari. He drives it like a Fiat. Both might be from Italy, but it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you want a different driver at the wheel of such a, bro, if you get new owners, y'all are going to be a problem. If you had Saudi owners, you would compete with Real Madrid. I'm not joking. Because you already
that's the bit I don't understand with Adrian when he says he's 75% glass half full. Why wouldn't he want to take the risk then? Because you know the club here has stolen for 24 years. So why wouldn't you want to take the risk here? Have a brand new owner coming in, he could revolutionize the club, take it from where it is now, yeah, and make it into a proper football club. But you're scared to take that risk. Why?
No, it's not that, right? If you bring a new owner in and he passes the due diligence, then I'm fine with that. The only risk I then have is, like Stoll mentioned, if the new owner reneges on all his promises and goes backwards. But other than that, I'm a great saying and look before you leap. I am naturally cautious that way, right? That I want to know what we're getting first, right? I want to know what the new regime's going to be. If that's not being sensible, fair enough, guys. I'd give up on you.
No, I think, Adrian, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The last thing that any of us want is for people to come in who are going to wreck the club and going to be reckless. None of us want that. The way I feel now, life is for living. Life is for taking risks. The worst two words in the world are "what if." I don't want to be lying on my deathbed whenever that is, thinking, "What if I'd have done this? What if I'd have done that?" So I want Spurs to take risks, not reckless risks like Leeds did in the early 2000s. Nobody wants that. All I want, very simply, is that Leeds ran their club like fans and Enid run it like accountants. Yeah. I want a balance. Yeah, I think I'm sure everybody is in agreement with that. We don't want people that are stupid that are going to put the club's finances at risk. But by the same token, give a little bit back. They are intransigent. They take. They never put money in. They never put their own money in. They just never put their own money in. They use 400 million of accrued profits from the 20-something years that they, in terms of building the grounds, and they borrowed 800 million that will be paid off by everything else. So they haven't actually said. Joe Lewis didn't actually say, do you know what? I'm going to pay 1.2 billion here. I've got the money. I'll raise the funds. I'll sell this, sell that. I'm really going to go for it. There's what. Why would you? As a businessman, why would you? They've done a fantastic deal on the loan. I think it's cost 26 million in the last year. They're more than, I think they've covered that by everything, all the money that's coming in. They earn a fortune with the NFL. The merchandise, they clear out all the football out the club shop. They've got NFL, they fill the club shop for those two matches. The merchandise is, the profit they make is enormous. Good luck to them. I don't care. I want Enid to make an absolute fortune as long as they reinvest it in the football side. Because I've got to tell you something, if the football side fell apart and we went down and down again, all the rest you can forget. Means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. Sky money would dip, players would dip, the whole thing would dip. The fans would vote with their feet. They've got to make sure the first team, the football side, is key. That's critical. They've got, what they're doing is they've kept it competitive. So they've kept you on the edge, like dangling from a string, but they've never actually said, bang, let's go for it. Let's really have a go. And that's the problem. Arsenal are doing that now. Arsenal are now competing with City. They finished 2 points behind them. I think it was 7 or 8 last year, 2 this year. Next year, no doubt.
No, they finished 5 points behind them last year. 5. Not 7.
If they can get centre forward, they'll piss the league next year, Arsenal.
Exactly.
We had the chance to do that. That's the bad thing about it. Over the years, we've had multiple chances to do that, and yet they've never put their foot on the accelerator. If they've stayed on it all this time. Why? Sell. If you don't want to move on with the club, sell the club. That's the best thing for you to do. Sell it.
Why would they sell the club when they're making all this money?
That's the problem, isn't it?
That's
because of your fans. It's because of your fans. They're allowing them to implement this pantomime.
They're scared to chase greatness, Minerals.
Exactly.
That's it.
Scared of
That's what I'm
chasing
saying.
great.
And I
Because
got
the
to
status quo is
Well,
comfortable. Yeah, go on, stop.
go. Guys, listen. Sorry,
Problem
I've
with
got to
Ian,
go.
Ian, the problem
Hang on a
is
sec, people.
never had
Hang on.
the right people.
Well,
in
hold on, Stel. Go ahead, Stel.
Listen, I just big up everyone in the chat. Eugene, Lily White Lane, Robbie, Philly,
coming on.
Adrian, Steve, Minerals, Dan, Ian. Big up to all of you. I just want to leave on this one thing. Ian is bang on the money, right? I've been blessed to have been into many clubs in this country and in Europe. The best football clubs have the balance of business and fans or their members. And the ones that give back as much as they take, they tend to be the best clubs in the long run. And what Arsenal did that made them get the balance back again was the board constantly communicated with the fans about their plans with Arteta. They constantly told them, we're going to back this guy no matter what you guys think. They changed all the murals outside the stadium. They listened to fans. They put loads of Arsenal design around the stadium. They brought the club and the fans like this. And that came from the top. So Ian is bang on the money. Guys, pick up.
Have a good day.
Ian is landing the Minerals, man.
Right. Basically, the way I see it, what it all comes down to it, before I get to another bit on here, is Levy, like it or lump it, this is a business. And a lot of people turn around and say, well, if we just use random numbers here, yeah? If Levy earns 20 million, brings in 20 million a year as a business, he's doing a good job. But right, if he takes these risks at Spurs, he loses 2 million. Yeah, but he's still got 18 million. What are people bothered about? No. A businessman then hasn't made 18 million. He's lost 2 million. And that is how a businessman does it. But people will still ask, people will still argue, yeah, but he's got 18 million. Why isn't he satisfied? He's not satisfied because he's a sociopath, world-class businessman who is like, bollocks, I might have the 18 million, but I should have had that 2 million. He's more bothered about the 2 million he's lost than the 18 million he made. That is why he does it how he does it.
Daniel, spot on. It's about maximizing profits when you're in business.
And that is what a shrewd businessman is. Ian, your opinion on that?
I think he'd be probably looking at it thinking, why haven't I got 22, 25?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also he gets to monetize the content.
Until
and the content is Spurs, isn't it?
We've seen improvements for all levels of the club, slight improvement in the transfer window, improvement with the academies. There's been a change. Scott Munn's come in. The footballing structure's been changed. It's in a stage of evolution as we stand now, right?
And there's still no contact with the fans, though, is there?
Hold on. Having said that, I am highly critical of Levy on that Super League fiasco. He would have sold us down the river. I'm highly critical on putting the concessions up, especially when you can get rid of Harry Kane, get the money, not the money in. Kane's on about 16 million a year. You could absorb that 3 million and what you saved on Kane's wages. You could have even made concessions for under 18s and families.
Yes.
Even gone further. The other thing in the stadium I'm pissed off with, I got in touch with the Tottenham Hotspur Trust when, I don't know if you remember him, when Martin Cloak and Katrina Law were there. They were good people. I was talking to them about seating inside the stadium, and they'd raised it and I went wonky. And the reason I was angry was because, like they said, there wasn't room in the concourses, which there's plenty of room. I said there should be green cross stations and water stations in there. I was in there with a mate, 3 years of age, nearly collapsed in the stadium, was sitting on the steps when the ambassadors come up and say, why are you sitting on the steps? You brought in a passport. I said, look, he's having a funny turn, mate. Now, I can't, there's no water station to get him some water. I've got to go and queue and get water and wait like a considerable time in the queue to get water to give him, got him to his seat. He recovered. He was okay. He would have died there rather than missed the game. That's how much
I'm sure if you'd have run up to the bar.
With the insensitive touches when it becomes total business and no care for the community, Spurs community at all. So I am highly critical of Levy when it's justified to do it. I'm highly critical of him, have been on numerous podcasts. But if I come up with other things that are uncomfortable truths, then people want to throw pelters, but you won't change my opinion.
Okay, right. So what I want to bring up here, just to ask everyone on it, is anyone in a rush?
I've got about 5 minutes because I must get on with some work.
Stay with that. I'm not very well.
Because I've just been given a little bit of extra time by my wife where she's caught in a traffic jam. So that gives me like a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So with everything we go through and everything we go on, how the fuck do we take this further? How can it happen? We all know what should happen. We all know how it could be done. And we ain't investors or nothing. But we all know or have our own way of how we can take this further. Because again, in its own way, whether other people laugh at it or not, we are literally sleeping giants out there. We have got everything at this club to become one of the biggest clubs in Europe. One of, not just on the business side. How?
On the football
with
as
the
well.
way Levy does things, how can it even be taken further? With the
Well,
way
the only
Levy
way you
does
improve
things.
things, if you want to appease the fans, you make sure, we've said it every year, that this transfer window is a good transfer window. The rumours coming out are good at the moment because if the club are talking about Eze, if Lang
That's
is
the
actually
point I'm gonna
talking
get
to
to.
Palace, if he is actually talking to Palace, then you read between the lines. If the club are talking to Palace, they wouldn't be talking to Palace if they hadn't really already spoken to Eze and his agent and got an agreement there. So there's an underlying agreement. The same with the only other thing I've heard is about the same that Santiago Jimenez wants to come as well. Had a bit of a drop off in the second half of the Dutch season. Looks a good player on the video I've seen. Will he make it in the Premier League? I don't know. Will he come?
Definitely is good. Definitely is good.
Yeah. Jimenez cooked last year.
I would be I'd be delighted to get Eze, and I think he's a wonderful
He's one of the only good Mexican players out there.
Right. And Eze would be what I'd class a marquee sign. Who else we get? I could list names on my notebook here. I've got loads of them right when I take my notes and shit.
Eze would land the minerals if he came in at Spurs.
Dan,
we want more than him now.
You asked me how we're going to move on, right, from where we are now.
Bring him in and bring Nico Williams in as well.
I asked in a different way. Hang on. I asked in a different way. I asked how can we improve this club the way Levy does it? Not the way we should do it, not the way we want to do it, the way Levy does things. How can it improve?
You're not asking about buying players and transfer windows, right? So the thing is that how is Levy going to move us forward, right? I don't think he will, right? Because unless guys, what we thought that this summer transfer window is going to be our biggest transfer window, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything, and we're going to win, and we'll be challenging for the title and all that. The first person we signed on was who? On a loan. So
how are we going to
Solo Werner blood?
How are we going to do this on?
So what we are seeing now is, okay, guys, what we are seeing now is, right, fans like me or maybe Ian, or we've gone through all this before, we're having PTSD. The fear is creeping in. You get what I'm saying now? When we see our club sign Timo Werner on loan again for £165 million per week, that is PTSD time again. So that scares us. That's why we are skeptical. Yes,
Exactly. That's spot on, Eugene. But also your fan base rate Timo Werner because he tries hard.
It doesn't matter. Minerals. It doesn't matter what we think about. You can say now. Then, of course, now we're sitting back and say that, okay, let's say we get in an Eze, can we get in a Jimenez, can we get in, the players that the fans want? Yes or no? But will that work out too? We don't know, right? Because that's what we want. But what the owners want, what the manager wants, right, could be a totally different thing. We could be heading a different road next season because maybe Ange has learned his lesson this season. He can't play this way anymore. He needs a different kind of player. We were going after Conor Gallagher, right? We were linked to him from January until now. And all of a sudden now Conor Gallagher says he doesn't want to come to Spurs. He's going to sign an extension contract.
Good.
So what is Ange plan B for that position that he wanted for Conor Gallagher for? We don't know that because there's no statement from the club.
Eugene, take a breath. Dan, In what context did you ask that question?
Yeah.
In how we can improve, not we, but how this club can be improved the way Levy does it.
Very well. Listen, if you've got to have people like Perisic in the club, because if you're not see, to me, if you want to go and challenge for next season, you're going to get rid of 7 or 8 players. You bring in a few players that are cover, but you go and you buy it. For me, it won't happen. And people will turn around and say, "Yeah, nice dream, Ian," and it is. But you go and buy Eze, Polinia, and Isak. Then you've got a completely different side. The whole thing changes.
Hands off the Isak.
The whole
Newcastle guy here.
Right. Let me kill a notion at the moment.
Big money.
Steve, I love you, my brother. But let me kill something for you right now, yeah. Ian, I don't like Paratici. It's not because of him, but I watch Italian football, mate, and I've watched it for over 20 odd years, 30 years now. And I watched Juventus, and I saw what he did at Juventus. And I saw how the fingers went everywhere.
He's a Paratici.
That he was guilty as hell, brother. And that's the reason I didn't want Paratici at first, mate. Because I knew exactly when everywhere hands went on him, all the directors jumped ship, and they pointed the finger at Paratici. And that was the reason I didn't want Paratici linked to Tottenham Hotspur.
Ian as well. Aren't you worried that he is also part of money schemes and like corruption schemes, and he's basically another brown envelope here?
They all are. I mean, come on, it's business, and when it comes to business,
but he got caught. But Dan, he got caught, brother.
Blatantly.
Billy, let me put this to you. If you are a representative for somebody, okay, I sell fabric. I represent textile mills, textile producers. Okay, I don't get paid by my customer. He doesn't give me a drink. I have commission from one side. The agents in the world, they get from both sides. So are you telling me that is straight? You're telling me that's correct?
No, it's not straight, Ian. It's not straight, Ian.
If you are an agent for a player, then you should take your money from the player. Is that not correct?
I agree. I agree with that totally.
But the agents have worked it very cleverly, because if the clubs agree they're not doing anything wrong, they're taking it from both sides.
Well, technically, what they actually do with that is they do actually take it from the player, because the player, say he has a sign-on fee of 10 million. He then turns around and says, "Yeah, but I've also got to pay my man 10 million as well." So he gets a signing-on fee of 20 million player. 20 million, and the 10 million goes to not the accountant, the bloody what's it?
The agent, isn't it?
The agent, that's it. And the 10 million goes to the agent. But the way it gets said is that the club paid the money to the agent. From what I know, they don't actually pay the money to the agent. They pay the money to the player who pays his agent, but they pay the player the money to go to the agent.
Exactly.
Sometimes there's a lot more involved in that, Dan. I mean,
I know there's more to it than that.
You'd think there's just agents.
And Dan, Ian,
skills work, right? You've got the club. We've got our football director who makes contact. Then we might have an agent, right, for the club who talks to an agent of theirs, right? Then you might have 2 sets of intermediaries that actually negotiate the deal. Remember when we got Porro and we had a negotiating team out there to try and get Porro from Sporting Lisbon, and in the end, Daniel Levy had to fly out there to clinch the deal because they were at loggerheads and all that, which is probably down to Daniel Levy anyway. So sometimes there's a lot of people involved in these deals, and they all want this, don't they?
Yeah, it's funny. Paratici wasn't involved in that deal, though, was he? Because Paratici was busy in Italy doing his. He was getting credit, so he was no longer in that business.
I think,
but we were told he was.
When he's stepped down this season or whatever, I think they'll bring him back. I think he did a good job. He might be a crook, but he did a good job.
Yeah, he was all right. Like,
I've got to tell you guys, all I care about is them getting the right players. Watching what
exactly. That's one thing about Paratici. But another thing, Ian, is that him getting involved in that scandal, like, did that like put a stain on Tottenham, because like Tottenham don't need to have like that bad PR, knowing that like one of your directors is involved in scandals.
Yes, because Levy didn't do his due diligence on bringing him in, did he?
Yeah, I don't think it put much of a thing on there. Right, last two things I'm going to get to here, yeah? One that I found out we've been looking at this morning, and I'm very, very interested in this one because I've seen him play quite a few times. Serie A is my second league. I follow it a lot and have done for years. This season, I've mainly just watched Inter play with the odd game or here. I mean, but everyone was hearing AC Milan want Chicken Boy out. One thing I can vouch for is AC Milan don't have much money to pay up front, nor do many Italian teams. It's quite a poor league these days, same as the rest of them in Europe, bar the massive clubs. David Freitas, I can't pronounce his name properly, yeah?
Who?
David Freitas. I can't
pronounce
Fratesi.
Davide Fratesi.
Yeah.
He's a baller.
And if I remember right, they got him from what's its name? The season before from Sassuolo. Yeah.
What position does he play then?
Midfield.
He plays centre mid, attacking midfield, and he also he's a mix of a centre mid, attacking midfield, mid.
He's box to box.
He's box to box with Barella.
He's not box to box. 100%, you got that wrong, Adrian. He's not a box to box.
Advanced state.
He's an advanced 8. I think Barella is the box to box one, isn't he?
He's more of a deep line playmaker sort of thing, sort of like Benton on a Juventus.
My report was slightly
different. Well, I can tell you facts otherwise because I've watched him.
No, you watch it. I'll go by you, Dan, because you watch the football.
Whereas Bentancur, he played more of a DM line playmaker sort of thing.
Bentancur was a 6.
Yeah,
but Dan as well. Fratesi,
he's an old school. Let me finish. He's more of like an old school centre back. Likes to get forward. Likes to hold it in the middle as well, and he's got the capability of being a playmaker as well there. He played, what was it? From what I know, about 29, 30 games last season, scored a couple and assisted a couple, but he's very, very good at controlling that game in the middle. And him and, what's the other one next to him? Is it
Barella,
that's it. I'm getting mixed up with the defender. Them two were very, very shrewd in the middle.
Defender,
but with David, he was played quite a few times as a sub. The amount of times they brought him on as a sub, and he made a massive difference to the game.
Yeah,
they're meant to be willing to sell because even though Inter Milan have just been taken over, they're still in massive debt.
Yeah, they're still in the mud. They're not out the woods yet.
Yeah,
Stanley got taken over.
Inter got taken over by an American company.
Okay, cool.
My only question is, Steve, hang on. Do you think he's gonna do better than the Chinese men that were there
Let's
before?
get to that one in a second. Yeah, because Inter are still in debt, but then so is every Italian team out there. Even Juventus are up shit street in their own way. Yeah, and we're meant to be offering him 30 million plus Chicken Royale for him. Yeah. And they're actually meant to be more than willing to take it because from what I read, they're not too happy with Dumfries because they want someone who can defend better. And if anyone knows Dumfries, who plays for Holland. He's like, to me,
Trent Alexander-Arnold. You can go forward, you can't defend.
He's a porro. He's a porro.
Yeah.
He's a porro. And he's good. I would love him at Spurs.
Yeah, Denzel's good. He is good.
Dumfries got the minerals. That's for sure.
And Inter, the basically way they do it, they need someone a bit more flat at the back, the way they do it. But sometimes
that's what Darmian does sometimes.
Yeah, but sometimes they play 5 at the back. So if anyone knows of this player or whatever, which it looks like a couple do, to me, I would quite like this one to happen. Cheaper than what we'd get over here, and personally, I think he's better than what we get over here. Anyone who knows of him?
Yeah, I watched the video in. He looks useful. He's not that old either, is he?
No, he's only about 24, 25.
Yeah, but Danny, doesn't that upset you?
He wasn't.
But Danny, doesn't that upset you though?
No, Spurs are my first team.
No. I don't mean it like that. Doesn't that upset you? Yeah, that I'm watching Italian football. You're watching Italian football. Steve's watching Italian football. We're watching German football. Yeah, we can see all these players here that Tottenham should be buying, but yet we're buying relegation level players from Everton.
Exactly,
you're
buying
bums,
bro. If you was to give me a choice of a player to go for who I think he's very underrated, but only just started showing his qualities, but he is about 28, playing at Roma.
Yeah.
I'd love to get Pellegrini.
Pellegrini, bro. The only thing about Pellegrini is he has heart conditions.
That is true.
Skill-wise, he's I think he's
Pellegrini's
better than
solid.
Maddison personally.
Trying to read between the lines with Ange and what he wants, if he's not going to tweak or change his system. When you look at all the rumours with Gallagher, which is true, he's interested with him. I know he signed a contract. Doesn't mean it won't sell him. Just means they can charge probably a bigger price for him or something like that. But what I'm reading into it, as much as I'd like Gibbs White, Edison from Atalanta, and other players like that,
you won't get Edison.
When you're looking at Gallagher for the Ange system, this is what I'm looking at a system. He's box to box. But Morgan Gibbs White, who I wouldn't mind if we were using him rightly, isn't box to box. Edison
White's a further
box to box. You see, Fratesi, if he isn't box to box, does Ange want him? See, we don't know. See, we're in unknown territory. Ange has tweaked things last year, didn't he? He took the 2 inverted fullbacks off against Liverpool, so he does tweak things. He played Decky through the middle. He scores a couple of goals against Sheffield. The game before that, he played Maddison like Bobby Firmino in a free role behind 2 wingers. So when people say stubborn, he doesn't change. He does tweak things. He doesn't change the system as such, but he does tweak things.
No, he don't have to change the system.
No. He's made substitutions at half-time, and with half hour to go. And we've been critical of him about the team he fielded against Fulham.
And we've also grilled him when in about 4 separate games he's gone 3-0 down and not made a sub.
And it's been justified then. And it's justified. That's what a justified constructive critique is about, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
So when I'm looking at we're bringing in a midfielder now, I'm sort of looking, I'm leaning towards who are we interested in that's good out there, that's box to box. Because he likes 2-8s with a 10.
Y'all should be looking at
what he needs is everyone says we need a DM, yeah? And yes, we do. But he don't play with a DM. What he does is use 2 box to boxes. And with a box to box,
2 8s.
2 8s and 10.
And the 2 8s he uses are box to box, is his style. And usually a box to box is a good defender and good forward. But he will obviously have one that he is stronger on as such. He uses Basuma as the box to box to also come back and cover the DM role more than he uses the other box to box to go forward. And for me, Basuma is a much better player than Gallagher overall. It's just box to box defending is not his style, and also mentality wise, he just seems to have lost it. And this is where Ange needs to get himself that, because we ain't going to get a box to box a DM, because we don't play out and out DM. We use our box to box man on the left usually to come back as our DM, like Basuma. We need a player that can also defend, that can defend better than he can get forward, basically, for that one, because we're not going to get a defense. He would be perfect because he can play box to box, attacking, and he can defend.
Milinkovic-Savic, bro. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah, I wanted him years ago.
Yeah,
years ago under Conte.
He's in Saudi now, so y'all made an offer for. That's exactly
I know.
The midfielder you need, because he can get forward, he can sit, he can win the ball, he can shuffle guys off of it. Give me that ball, just dribble through, bro.
Yeah, he's a Mandela.
Is who you need. Yeah,
I'm amazed we got top 5. To be honest with you, our front three's been pants all season, and Basuma and Maddison have been pants. Right?
Yeah. Do you know what the joke of it is, Adrian?
Go on.
In its own way, we was lucky we got top 5 because 3 other teams played so shit or had the injuries. But on another aspect, we should have been 4th place.
Yeah.
If Ange wasn't such a stubborn what he is, and hadn't waited till the last minute before he actually made some serious decisions, not to totally change the game, but would affect the game. Instead of putting Davis against Saka, instead of putting bloody chicken royale up against Mohamed Salah and other things that he didn't do. Out of those games we lost, especially in the last 5, we could have easily got 6 points out of that and ended up in 4th place if he wasn't such a stubborn player.
Dan, look at the 2 games against Wolves. Look at the 2 games against Wolves.
Yeah.
We played Wolves the week after we lost at home to Chelsea. He played Dyer, who we all knew had no future at the club, instead of playing Phillips, who was on the bench.
Yeah.
He played. Maddison was injured. He had Lo Celso on the bench as a straight replacement. No, he played Højbjerg. When we're up against it in the second half, even with 5 minutes to go, he should have brought Phillips on to make a back 3.
Yep.
Didn't do it. Dyer and Davis in the end got caught out, and we lost with two late goals.
Concede the same goals every game.
Then, moving on, let's talk about Villa at home and West Ham at home, where he took Lo Celso off, probably because he ran out legs, and we're losing 2-1 both games, and he put Skip on instead of Donnelly. Just mad. Mad decision.
Yeah. Exactly. And
mad decisions. I stood behind the goal at Brighton on the 28th of December. We should have been 7 down at half time.
Exactly.
They played 3 great saves. They hit the woodwork twice. They went in 2-0 up. They were absolutely killing us. He stood there with his hands in his pockets doing nothing. Now, I remember Mourinho, I think it was Olympiacos at home. We were 2-0 down. He hooked Dyer after 28 minutes. We ended up winning 4-2. You know, the guy he sits there and he does nothing. And it's all very well. Listen, he talks a great game. He's probably very motivational. He has a lot of good points before anybody's saying, oh, Ian Lubin hates Ange. I don't hate Ange. What I do think he needs to do is you can't change the will. No team has ever played 2 at the back and been successful.
It's impossible.
And he expects Romero and Van der Ven to cover the width of the pitch. You can't do it. You can't expect to defend your attackers. You can't expect people like Basuma to be inside the other area. We lose the ball, and before you know it, they're on the edge of our box because they've got fast strikers like Neto at Wolves.
Exactly.
You just can't expect.
Ian, don't forget Ange's in-game management as well.
It's been dreadful. It has been dreadful. I think he
just set us up far too predictable.
And they worked.
Go on, Robbie. You wanted to say something quick?
So he just sets us up far too predictable, in my opinion. And I think some of it, this is just an idea, it's a theory, but when he was at Celtic, he had the best quality team in that league, right? Now, some of the football they played was brilliant, fair enough, but he had the best quality team. So when he was stubborn and stuck by his system, his quality would usually get him through games. I think coming to the Premier League now, with the players that we have, I get that he's trying to instill his system and see which players he wants to keep and which players he wants to sell. But you've got to have the tactical nous to tweak it certain times.
Yeah.
Like you were just saying there about the Brighton game, tweak it at half time. The Liverpool
You can only play with the cards you got, innit? You can want to do poker a certain way. You can only play with
but
what
Dan,
you've
though,
got.
but Dan, don't forget
Go on, let Rob
who we are,
Rob's
mate.
still talking. Yeah, I know that one, mate.
I just think he's got to tweak it in games. It's not changing it. I don't want him to park the bus and change his system. But in the Premier League, I'm sorry, compared to the Scottish League, the difference in quality is absolutely huge. And just being stubborn and relying on your system without the quality.
Exactly, bro.
Now, here's a
Robbie.
question then for everyone. Here's a question then, yeah? Now, I rate Udogie, yeah? And I'd watched him play quite a lot the year before because I knew he was coming to Spurs, purely because of that. Udogie defending, not his strong point.
Definitely.
Porro defending, not his strong point.
Definitely.
Some give me digits that he's done this, he's done that. Bollocks. He's not a right back, yeah? He's a wing back.
Udogie, the one-on-one defending, he's better. But his awareness is not there.
But his defending is not his strong point of being a wing back, yeah? He's better at going forward. The way we play these two as inverted, we're not playing them to their full potential. Same as Kulusevski. We don't do it with him. His full potential is in the middle or as a false 9 target man. Point I'm getting to here is I actually think, and I got it wrong because I was saying straight away, no, Van der Ven has to stay in the middle. Otherwise, we just get torn a new one. To the point that we end up walking off the pitch all looking like John Wayne. And I think we actually looked better as a defence when we had Van der Ven on the left, Dragusin in the middle, Porro on the right, and obviously Romero in the middle. And then he left it to one of the wing backs to go forward and invert, and we moved into a back three. And I think we actually looked like a much more complete defence.
Exactly.
A much better team.
What I will say,
But Danny,
guys, the players he's got. Can you imagine Conte would have salivated with those three centre backs and Porro and Udogie as wing backs? They're your perfect five. And for me, I've been banging on podcasts and on Spaces for the last 6 months. You've got to try and play three at the back. I personally wanted Phillips to come in. You know, give the guy a chance. Throw him in with Romero and Van der Ven. Phillips obviously didn't get a chance. He went out on loan, did very well at Plymouth. You never know whether these guys are good enough until you throw them in. And all the other Premier League clubs seem to throw their kids in, except us. And then you've got, for me, so you would play Dragusin, Romero, and Van der Ven as a back three. You play Porro and Udogie as wing backs. I would bring Polinia in. For me, a good question mark for next season. I'm looking forward to seeing how Bentancur does, because he's had a horrible time for the last 15 months with injuries. And he didn't have one bad injury. He came back and look at that tackle that Cash hit him with. And that tackle lost us the Champions League because we were killing Villa up to that point. And that 6 point swing in that match would have had us finishing in fourth place.
So basically,
but Ian, what you're saying?
I brought up on here.
Yeah, go on, Danny. No, let me say this quickly. Right, you watch Italian football. Ian watches Italian football. Right here. When Romero played for Atalanta, he was on the right side of a back three. That is where he was at his best, on the right side of a back three. So we've been playing him in the false position all season in the back two. So therefore he's out of position anyway. Round pegs, square holes. Again, what we always say, round pegs, square holes. Why are you doing that?
We play him all right now. We play him fine in that aspect, yeah. Now the joke of all this, the biggest joke of all of it is, I started this argument with people about 5 months ago when I did a show, because honestly, I might not have been the first, but I hadn't seen no one else do a show over it or even talk about it. So I thought I'm going to be the one that brings it up. This team we have now, bar one or two players, is perfect for Conte style, and Conte style to look bloody good at the process. Because Conte style does look good when you got the right players. And as all I got slammed at me was Harry Kane. I don't think we'd have done any better with Harry Kane this year. I just think we'd have scored a couple more goals. I don't think we would have actually been better. Our defence, which is so-called a world-class defender, which Romero is not, but he's very bloody good, and definitely one who's up and coming, actually conceded 3 goals less than what Conte did with fucking Longley, Davis, and Dyer in the middle, There's definitely something wrong with the system. Now, if you go back and you take this to Conte, again, I've got the crap. Yeah, but Conte wouldn't have bought this. Conte wouldn't have bought that. Bollocks. I'm talking about what we have here and now. Vicario at goal. We landed on our feet, hands down with him. Only knew slightly of him from Italy, but the word's going about him. He was wanted. Inter was about to pay for him, and we basically snapped him off of Inter because they didn't have the money to put down. They had to sell Onana first. And you look at the goalkeeper we got now. We got a much more solid goalkeeper. And then you also look at the back three. Much better. Yes, Dragusin, we will see. Wing backs going forward, overlapping like they should. Adoje, Porro. Then we got a choice in midfield. What? Bentancur, Sarr, for instance. Then Maddison. And then we get to a bit weaker up front. But this whole team, for me, it's got Conte written all over it. Anyone else?
The other play where we suffered this year, I think, Dan, defensively. You look at the defenders, and they're different class to the defending unit that Conte had. So you think to yourself, there's something wrong, because we should have been at least 15, 20 goals better off in terms of conceding than we were with Conte. And the reason why Conte played a low block and Mourinho, because you saw what happened when they played a high block and they played 4 at the back against Newcastle. Last season, we were 5 down in 21 minutes. So both Conte and Mourinho had to play a low block. Didn't have a choice. They didn't have the players. And you saw how fed up Romero got because he was covering for the whole lot of them. It was just
he got pissed, didn't he?
Completely pissed. Where we've suffered this year, I'll take issue with you on Harry Kane, Dan, because defensively from corners, I think now, you know, when you see how firstly, you can't zonal mark. I think that's horrendous what Ange has done with zonal marking. You know, space.
I got told zonal marking never existed, mate.
Fresh air never scored a goal. You've got to touch tight with players. If you touch tight, you can make sure they don't make the runs, etc., etc. And secondly, Harry Kane headed a lot of corners out from
he was a good defender. That is why he's a world-class player as a whole, isn't it?
It's fantastic as a player.
Basically, the way
Harry Kane, man,
on the defense,
he was him.
Two players.
Genuine question, Dan. Yeah.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. You have 2 players that do zonal mark the way I used to do it when I was a bloody kid. You always have 2 players zonal mark, 1 at each post. The rest of it, man for man. Who do I mark? And you'd put the biggest one next to the biggest one, basically. Yeah. I know that sounds simple and there's a lot more to it now. But it took him 36 games. And for us to be the 3rd worst team in the league at conceding set pieces,
bro, the set pieces was basically a penalty, wasn't it, Dan?
What's that?
It was basically a penalty when Spurs have a set piece on them, wasn't it?
Basically, yeah. Guys, even at the Arsenal game, we was all in the middle for our zonal marking. Nobody there. There were 6 or 7 Arsenal fans behind us who ran into it when the ball was kicked.
I think where it changed, Dan, was the Liverpool game. I thought we were much better. Liverpool had 8 or 9 corners and didn't threaten on any of them. Thought we were much better.
But the thing is that we all understand, right? The way Ange plays his football is that way. That's why I need Ange, right, next season coming in to pick what kind of tactics he plays against each team. If the team is a bigger, stronger team, you must know how to sit back 5-10 yards, right, to play the way you play.
You can still play the way you want to play, but you've got to adapt.
You have to adapt, right?
Exactly, you have to tweak. Like Pep Guardiola isn't that stubborn.
No, we get teams who can go gung-ho. You get what I'm saying? So he must learn from that. But if he doesn't learn from that, right, then to tell the truth, the writing will be on the wall.
Exactly, the writing will be on the wall. But you know, Eugene, it's who we are, mate.
No,
just do it, mate.
You're an Arsenal fan. That's not who you are.
Do you want to foster as well?
But the thing is what I'm saying. If we don't learn that, the writing's on the wall, right? And he's going to get found out again. And imagine
gone by December.
If we can't win the first 10 games, that will be the biggest scare. But let's hope Ange can change. And it depends on what players he brings in and all that.
Like my mate, this is my mate Dave O, who comes on here with me. He said that Celtic, Ange at Celtic improved their set pieces defending second season, so I'm confident it will change next season. He's given me that bit of hope he can, and people have said to me, but you still moan about him. What's your fucking problem? Because it took him 36 games to see what we saw 20 games earlier. That's why it was a bit too little too late. But hopefully he has finally got it hammered into that head of his that zonal marking, out and out zonal marking ain't gonna work.
Exactly, zonal marking is a lot of bollocks, man. Zonal marking as well, it's a problem. It's a problem in modern football, man. Yeah, like the way the tacticals use it has infected the game, man.
But you can't have your whole defense as zonal marking. You cannot do it. You've got to have a zonal mark on each post. And then
just put one man at the far post, one at the near post, and then man mark big guy on the big guy, small guy on the small guy.
Exactly.
And like you said yourself, it sounds simple, but it can be sometimes. There are still teams in the Premier League who do it and are successful do it. And so I just want to go back to something that you said, and then I'll let you move on about Conte. It really gets to me, the amount of people I see saying, oh, Conte's football was rubbish. I actually preferred that first season under Conte to this season gone under
all day long.
Because it's not just possession based. When we had the ball, we would go for the opposition quickly and fast on the counter. And
exactly. You are more clinical as well. That's
Yeah.
for a season.
Yeah, exactly. And if Conte had this team, usually
Hang on,
1 second.
Eugene. Let Robbie finish. Let Robbie finish.
If Conte had this team that Ange Postecoglou had last season, I think we would have finished third. May not have contended for the league, but genuinely, because he's a more capable manager of getting better results with worse players. He got us fourth in his first season with Ivan Davies.
Conte wouldn't play a high line on the halfway line, would he?
No,
it'd be a back three.
I mean, I believe even with the poor defending, even with the letting the goals in, it's because we're not defending in midfield and up front as well. That's why our good defenders have been.
But a lot of it comes. But I think a lot of it comes down to it, Adrian, is where we got defenders on the bloody halfway line.
Even though with the poor defending amount of goals we conceded, the other issue is not so much the defending as well. If you just step aside, because it's so easy to improve even the squad we've got, although I'm sure we'll improve it much more, right? Is the fact the amount of big chances we missed last year.
Exactly,
if we put them away, if we put half of them away, we'd have probably finished third.
Exactly, they'd finish fourth if you
without the poor defending.
That's where he likes to, like Dan said, though, play the card things down.
Exactly, bro. He made his bed and now he has to lie in it.
Hang on. Let one person speak at a time, otherwise we can't fucking
at home
understand
against
anything.
Villa, we had 17 chances, I think it was, in something like 20 minutes in one part. Probably the best part of our attacking display all season, yet we lost that game on breakways, right? So, like...
We can counter-attack.
Yeah,
It was so simple. Guys, it was so simple to break us down. One ball over the top, if VDV couldn't get to it, we are done.
Exactly, you're cooked.
Oh dear, what do you do?
Oh dear,
I pressed the wrong button.
That's a rare L, Dan.
I pressed the wrong button.
With that scenario, the worst part is that on average last season, we are having 60% possession of the ball, but we do nothing with it.
Exactly. Too much passy, bang, bang. You know what I mean?
A horseshoe football style. We go all the way to one end, go back, U-turn, go back all the way to the other end, U-turn and go back. See,
exactly. Spurs are basically, with that passing football, it's basically Michael Jackson football. Spurs are always moonwalking, sideways, backwards,
It is similar to what Pep plays at City, but you lots watch the movement. Man. You watch the movement.
Come on, man. You can't compare Spurs to Man City, Adrian. Come on now.
But you watch the movement of the Man City players. They look for space to find space and move. You look at Romero's playing shotgun at the back or quarterback, and he's looking up. There's no movement. There's no movement in front of him. And he needs options, and he needs at least two. Because once
Adrian, do you know why there's no movement? Because the style of football that we play, right, doesn't suit the players that we have. Number one, Son needs to run into space, but he's locked into a space. Brennan Johnson can't take on his man, and he's locked into a space. So that is the thing. Let's hope next season, right?
Do you know the thing for me, though, that we've got, our biggest problem is struggling to score goals and having clinical players. Yet our game plan is to outscore the opposition. Now I get that that's not all
and we can't defend.
But surely you have the common sense to play a little bit more defensive when you've got a better defense.
Look, like what Thomas Tuchel did.
Let me answer you there. Let's give the guy a chance. On that point, I think Johnson will be much better second season. I think you'll quite probably see a second season. I like Johnson. I think his movement is very good. He's very quick. There are things that you can't. I mean, just take the goal he scored at West Ham.
He needs to improve.
Werner went down the left and he just cut straight in. Emerson didn't know where he was. Ball went across. Johnson's like centre forward, knocks it in. And he was doing that regularly towards the end of the season. But you've got to give Ange a chance. Arteta didn't get the team he got after 1 year. And Postecoglou's walked in. No manager you're not going to get 15 in, 15 out as soon as you walk in the door. He's had several players that he wants. He demanded Johnson. They spent a lot of money on Johnson. I personally think he will come good. Werner may good. Werner has done it. When I saw him come down when Leipzig beat us 1-0 at the Lane, and when I went over there just before COVID, Werner was electric. So he can do it. He's just been
he has the potential.
He has terrific potential. He just, for me, if you're looking at signing people on, then I possibly wouldn't have gone straight in because I think there are other players that are out.
Exactly. You could have got Brian and Buemo from Brentford.
Yes, give you this scenario, Ian. Why couldn't Spurs, right, just sign Werner on the loan first and keep it on the low and not announce it until you bring in an Eze or something, and then maybe end of the season say, oh, we just signed Timo Werner. Well, the fans are really happy. Somehow or another, I feel, right, our club, right, like
Eugene, it doesn't matter. Eugene, it doesn't matter as long as we get the players in when we need to get them.
Yeah, let me finish.
As long as we get them in at the start of next season, it doesn't matter who's announced and when. Just get them in. That's it. I'm not bothered about.
No, Ian, let me finish. I'm saying, right, the club knows that the fan base is already divided, so divided on Werner, correct? I'm sure they know, all right? But why did they have to announce him as our first signing? They could have held it back.
It was our second signing. It was our second signing usually.
Who's our first signing?
Bergwijn was our first.
No. Bergwijn was signed last season. I'm saying
no,
this season.
Bergwijn's been signed to join this window. He's joined July the 1st.
I'm saying this
is our first transfer.
Ian, that's schematics because Bergwijn was signed last season, but went back to play for Durgajan or whatever, his team, and he's coming.
Does it matter when he agreed it? He signs on the dotted line on July the 1st. That's when his contract starts.
Let me explain this.
Slow down.
Why does the club need to announce Werner so early? He could have announced Werner later. Maybe. Why are they doing it to antagonize the fan base? That's what I'm saying. Because they know the fan base is divided on Werner.
What shall I tell you something, Eugene? What stays secret for long in football?
No, I mean, I'm just saying.
Nothing.
I'm sure.
No, but he's just giving you. I agree with what you said, Eugene. But Ian's just trying to give you an answer to it.
No, I understand. I understand what Ian is saying, but I'm just saying.
Well, let him say it then. He hasn't said it yet.
Scenario doing it.
Yeah, but he hasn't said it yet. So
I'm not.
Let him say it.
Go on, Ian. I'm not a fan. Go on, Ian, if you want to answer that.
Go ahead.
No, that was it. Listen,
right. That was it. That's why I know he's already answered.
Oh, okay. My bad.
My argument has always been, guys, I've tried to bang on about this in loads of different podcasts I go on, right? And the problem I have with Werner is not that he isn't a good footballer. He's a good footballer. He takes up good positions, he's got tremendous pace, and he can cross the ball. I mean, your crossing days can be good or bad accordingly, right? But it sort of ends there with him. The same with Johnson. The difference with Johnson, I didn't want him either, not because he wasn't oven ready for the price. And again, he's a work in progress and he shouldn't be for that sort of money, right? But at least with Johnson, like you're inferring, Ian, he has got a ceiling and a potential to do better, where I think Werner's reached his ceiling. And my biggest argument has always been that front three. If you want to win a Premier League, what we're going through, you're looking to score 90 goals a season. If your wingers can't get you 10 goals each, I don't want them in a club. I don't care if they're Ginola, Waddle, Gareth Bale, Messi, Ronaldo on the wings. If they look good and flashy, that's great. That's wonderful. I've seen some wonderful players at Spurs over the years, right? But if you can't score goals in a front three, we're not going to win jack shit. We're not going to win nothing. So if we're bringing wingers in, we need goal scorers. Werner doesn't get enough goals. He had that one good season, got him the move to Chelsea, right? And then they tried to play him through the middle. They played him on the left. Doesn't score enough goals. Johnson, jury's out with me on Johnson, right? And I want him to come good. Don't get me wrong. I really want him.
We all do. We all want him to come good, even though we grill him. Right. I've got to get to one more point quickly. And then, there's two actual quick ones here. Right. Eze, I spoke of him yesterday, but the more and more I see that, I personally think this Eze deal is going to happen.
Yeah, Eze could happen, but then, man,
let me give you my reason. Man. I'll give you my reason. What, you got to go?
Yeah, gotta go. And big up Ian, man.
Thanks for coming on, Bruce.
Yeah, thank you, man. Big up Ian, bro. Great guy. Cheers, mate.
Take care of yourself. Right. Eze, I think he's going to happen. Why? And he's going to be expensive because they're going to make up on their losses for, what's his face? Alusi, the right winger. What's his name?
Elise.
they're going to want to make up their money for him because he's supposedly on a buyout clause of 36. I might be totally wrong. I'm only going by what I read, yeah? So they're going to want to make their money back on what they lose on him. Not that they even want to sell Eze, but there's meant to be an agreement that Eze will go. Now, if you look at the top clubs, Man City are meant to be interested in him. But on a money side, that would be a smart bit of business. On a football side, I think that would be stupid for him to go there because then you'd just see another Calvin Phillips. Arsenal don't need him. Chelsea don't need him. Newcastle ain't got the money for him. Aston Villa don't need him. Any of the other bigger clubs, Liverpool, don't need him. And then you even look at other clubs. West Ham don't need him. We are probably the biggest club that actually needs him. And I can honestly see this Eze one happening, and I think it would be a very good deal as long as he can stay fit, because he has had moments where he's looked a bit skeptical in fitness. But that one, I think, will happen. And yeah, I think he'll get his 125 grand a week in the process as well. What about you, for?
Yeah,
I'll be quick with it. Yeah, if we get him, we get him. If we get him, I'll be happy, right? But you know, we're Spurs fans. We always have that hope.
Yeah, I think we'll get him, and I think we'll get Jimenez as well.
I hope we get him. I think he's a really, really good player. Even watching him yesterday for England, he was one of the only ones who stood out. I think there's a lot that's going for him with this deal as well. You know, staying in London, his history with Madison as well, sort of mentoring him when he was becoming a player. So I'm 50-50 as to whether it happens or not. The only thing stopping it would be Enoch and Levy be willing to invest that probably 60 to 70 that Palace would want something around that figure. But if we get him, I'll be happy with Larry.
I could see us offering a player for him as well, because I don't think Palace would be ones who would necessarily turn down Højbjerg. I think he's on their level as such. I think there's an odd player or two we could have all for it. The other one we're meant to have looked at is, what's his name? That Joe Bellingham. Bellingham's little brother.
At Sunderland.
Sunderland.
I've said this on X, right? Joe Bellingham is going to be the Jet Spence project, like what Levy did. He's going to chase after him for 1 year, and then we're going to sign him for about £20 million. Whether we use him or not, it's up to Ange.
I think there's more chance with the two brothers at Rennes, because the elder one, I think he can play right back as well. And by God, do we need a spare right back? If we get rid of Royal, there's the two brothers at Rennes you can look at, guys. I forget their names now. Doué, something like that. Yeah, I think when it comes to defender, I think like we've got our striker and our number 10 lined up. So I'm looking. Don't put this in stone, but I'm looking like okay on the left. Son on the left with Werner behind him. I'm looking at Jimenez up front. We'll keep Richarlison unless we get another striker or give a chance to Parrott or Velez.
Adrian, wait. You're saying Son on the left with Werner behind him? Then who's going to play?
No, I don't mean behind him.
Werner backing him up, basically.
In a pecking order.
Playing behind him. Okay.
Go on the right.
Even though we don't want backup.
Although Decky's done okay. He's been hit and miss in the middle, but he's shown promise in the middle, Decky. You've still got Johnson and Decky. We don't know what's going to happen to Manor Solomon, whether he'll just be kicked out. I'd like to see more of him. I haven't got an opinion on him one way or another. He had a very good game at Burnley away, but that 5-2 win was 2 assists, and that was a long time ago. So in midfield, I don't know what box-to-box number 8 we're looking at. Most midfielders I look at, they're good midfielders, but to name a box-to-box number 8, which is what Ange wants, right? I don't see it. Defence, we know we need a left back, right back, and a left-footed centre back, preferably. But you know, we're not going to fill every hole in this transfer window, are we? We will get rid of about 7.
Of course not.
We're going to get rid of about 7.
Everybody knows that.
The other thing to consider is you bring Dragusin in and play Romero as your number 6.
Exactly,
mate. I personally think that could work. But when I say cut this short, that's an exaggeration. It was only meant to be an exaggeration. It was only meant to be an hour and a half. But, you know, like I said, football is an advantage. Like I've said on another show, football is an advantage that men have in life, where you can go up to the bar and just talk to a random fella that you're waiting for a pint, and you can stand there and talk about half-hour football and forgot that your wife, your mates were sitting outside.
And you know what, Dan? No one's even mentioned the kids.
No.
Yeah.
It's going to start coming through over the next year or two.
There was a point to that one. Don't fucking do it. There was a point to it.
You don't want to stay here for another another 3 hours.
Yeah, I haven't got that time on my hand. I will go bald by the time that one's done. And I just want to say a big thanks to the crowd, the chat, the crew, whatever you want me to call you, for everybody coming on and having a good chat and having a good debate on the side. I've got over 3K now, which is thanks to everybody who comes on the show, obviously the subscribers and that. So if everyone can, I don't ask this often, give us a quick like and subscribe. It'd be appreciated. Stel, Philly2109, Minerals, Stevie, whoever else come on. Thanks for coming on. I think it's actually been a good show. Right, Ian, where do we find you?
At Luvo_61 on Twitter. I'm on Spaces when our guys, people like Johnny and Billy, put them on. And hopefully I'll be back on here, maybe, if you want me to come back on.
That's what I was about to say. If you hang on for after the show quickly for 2 minutes, I'll send you my number and I would love to have you back on here. Level-headed fella. There will be debates and that is exactly what you fucking want. Right. Robbie.
Yep, over at Lily White Lane, all types of Tottenham content. But yeah, pleasure to be on again, Dan. Really, really enjoyed the stream.
Always enjoy you being on here.
Yeah. Ian, nice to meet you as well, mate. And big up to everyone in the chat.
Okay, Adrian.
Thanks for the invite. Great to be on. Big up to the chat and all that, and the panelists. Admire your passion.
You're always a good guest, mate. You might
admire the varying and different opinions. It's kept sensible and mature.
That's all it is at the end of the day.
As long as it's mature and sensible, it's okay. You can find me at Adrian Stroker on X Twitter. My Spurs Facebook group is approaching 14,000 now. Spurs Diehards TTID. People are, if you use Facebook, you're welcome to come and join us. Yeah, that's it.
Right. And Eugene, where, how?
Thanks for having me on, Dan. Right, guys, don't forget, subscribe to the HotspurHood, Spurs Vision TV, Lily White Lane, Tottenham Away, Strasbourg Steve. Who else did I miss out? Did I miss anybody else? If I missed anyone, sorry. And all the guys in the chat, thanks. Yep, Stel is Tottenham Away, right?
Oh yeah.
And of course, don't forget Brian Daigle, Tottenham tour. He was on earlier before all the guys jumped
on as well. Yeah, big up Brian. I've had about 12 people on. You forget names. You do lose names.
So, guys, thanks for being on. Right, and of course, all the guys in the chats. And as always, Levy out.
And Levy out. Right. So if you hang on a sec after Ian and the rest of you, I'll talk to you quickly after. I am also now slowly getting it working on Twitter, getting stuff on there and instigating a few things, as it's always fun to do that on Twitter because people on Twitter just seem so bitchy that it's unreal. And what I will say to everyone is have a good afternoon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on and see you later.
Come on,